It's your under degrees. Sip on me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. It's your under degrees. Sip on me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea.
What's going on, Diamond Gang? Did y'all miss me? I ain't been live for 2 days. 2 days. But I got a war update. But I got something to tell y'all too. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. I got caught in a sweep. And when I say I got caught in a sweep, I got demonetized about talking about these war updates. Because I'm in the same category with everybody else that's talking about Trump, a lot of people was demonetized behind that. So right now I'm fighting to get it back. I filed an appeal. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to leave my people hanging. You know what I'm saying? I got updates to do. Was I mad? Yeah. But there's a process that I got to go through to get it, turned. So I'm just waiting on YouTube's decision. My channel's not a war channel. It's a celebrity gossip channel. So it's looking in my favor. I wasn't shadow banned. I never had any videos removed. So it looks like my appeal is going to go through successfully. So we'll see. But I'm here tonight. I was like, 2 days is too long to be gone from my people. So, hey, it is what it is, you know? So I want to say shouts out if you're new here. Shouts out to my subscribers and shouts out to my beautiful mods. But there's so much going on right now. There is a lot going on. The Straits is back closed. Um, there was shots fired today in the Straits. Israel didn't hold to their end of the bargain with the ceasefire. Cash Patel is up, and I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, his job is on the line. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my screen up and we're going to get into it. Let's get it, Diamond Gang. Ain't nothing changed. It's still the same, whether I'm monetized or not. All right, let's get it.
This is breaking news. President Trump just announced that Israel is prohibited from striking Lebanon as the ceasefire has gone into effect. Says that the issue with Lebanon is separate from Iran and that we'll be working in order to deal with the Hezbollah situation. He also just
Let me say this. If you're new here, I always start with the day before, what happened the day before, and then I'll lead it all the way up into the current events. All opinions are respected here. You just can't be disrespectful. You got a right to feel however you want to feel. I am basing my opinions off of, I want to say some facts and other things, but I look at multiple outlets per day and I see what's going on with the war. So you're free to speak your mind. You just can't be disrespectful. But I will say this, Trump did get a hold of Israel and he told them, like, Lebanon is off limits. Do not strike. And unfortunately, they agreed. And then they turned around and they did it anyway. Let's go.
Released another statement telling NATO allies who are meeting today about the possibility of helping in the Strait of Hormuz to stay away. Things are moving very quickly here in the Middle East.
So he basically told Israel, don't touch them. But he told NATO, and if y'all can recall the last live stream I did, NATO with a couple of other countries, they were getting together and they were supposed to meet with Iran so that they can help secure the Straits of Hormuz once the war is over. President Trump told them to stay away. Trump told NATO, stay away.
Least follow for the latest.
We're less than 24 hours into this ceasefire agreement in Lebanon, and there's already been a report of an Israeli drone strike. The Lebanese health ministry says that an Israeli drone strike targeted a motorcycle and another vehicle, killing one person and injuring.
So really quick, gang, this is what they did, Diamond Gang. They said that they would agree to the peace agreement. However, they said that they could still strike as far as, defending themselves. This was not provoked. This last strike from Israel, it wasn't provoked. They did it because they wanted to do it. Let's go.
Injuring several more. This happened in southern Lebanon on Friday afternoon. The Israeli military, we've reached out to them for comment on this, but it's important to note that so far, this doesn't mean that the ceasefire is collapsing. It does appear to be holding together, and we haven't seen any Hezbollah rocket fire towards northern Israel. And we're seeing today how critical this ceasefire agreement in.
Thank you, EJ. Listen, Diamond Gang, for 2 days, I was on pins and needles. I wanted the best for everybody, even Donald Trump. Y'all know I don't rock with him, but I wanted this to be at least coming to a closure. This is a disaster, and it's getting ready to amp up.
Lebanon is to the broader diplomacy that we're seeing between the United States and Iran. The Iranian foreign minister announcing that the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened to traffic, a direct result of that ceasefire in Lebanon going through. And we're also seeing the extent to which it appears to be contributing to the momentum that we're seeing in these broader talks between the United States and Iran. And so it helps explain why President Trump brought so much pressure to bear on the Israeli prime minister, ultimately really forcing his hand to a certain extent.
I got to give Trump props because I've been saying this for the past 2 lives. He got to get some balls, and he got to tell Bibi he has to stop. There's no way that we can spark any type of negotiations if you keep doing what you're doing. And he did that. So I got to say, shouts out to Trump. He did that. But of course, they didn't follow it.
To enter into this ceasefire agreement, we're even seeing today that President Trump is continuing to talk about the leverage that he had over Israel, saying that Israel is prohibited from carrying out strikes in Lebanon. But it's important to note that there are still Israeli troops in southern Lebanon, thousands of them up to 10 kilometers deep inside of Lebanese territory. And the Israeli military has instructed Lebanese civilians not to return south of the Litani River in that area.
Please, Diamond Gang, we got a lot of information to go over. I don't want to have to keep stopping begging for likes. Please hit the like for your girl. That's all I got left is the likes now. Please and thank you.
Of southern Lebanon.
The Iranians control the actual Strait of Hormuz, but the US Navy is in control of Iranian shipping as it comes out of the Gulf. I think the thing that has to happen is America needs to shift on its blockade.
Sharon says, hey.
And we've heard before that things like the blockade aren't linked to the ceasefire. Well, they are. America shifted its position on the Lebanon conflict to force Israel into a ceasefire.
Pay attention to this because this is so true. And it all fell apart because Trump was not willing to remove his blockade. So he wanted to keep the blockade there.
Because it knew that was connected to the Iran negotiations. So America may have to shift its position again here. If they can't even get to the starting point, which is seeing the ceasefire terms come into place, which does mean tankers are coming out of the Strait and Iranian shipping is not blockaded. If they can't get to that first step, it's incredible to believe they will reach a peace agreement.
That part, it don't seem like it's going to go through. This is getting ready to escalate. Do you hear me? I had to jump on. I haven't been live for 2 days, and I've been patiently watching this, hoping for the best.
We're on a tour boat here in the waters just off.
Now, this was as they opened the straits and everybody was happy. It's getting ready to get ugly.
The Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most contentious flashpoints. We're only a few minutes into our journey, and you can already see tankers and cargo ships just stuck there, and they've been there for weeks. Now, those oil tankers are where around 20% of the world's energy passes through, and for 7 weeks now, none of those tankers have been moving. And now that's created an energy crisis all over the world. It's seen gas prices skyrocket. And President Trump and
Diamond Gang, once again, allegedly insider trading happened around this time. And I'll show you guys that as well.
Iran are negotiating. It's not just Iran that is blockading these waters. President Trump has also announced a blockade in an attempt to choke off Iran's own energy exports. Now, all of this comes at a time when the world is trying to figure out a way to prevent something like this from happening again. We have leaders meeting in Europe from dozens of countries gathering together to try to come up with some sort of solution, potentially even a military solution, in order to ensure that these waters don't become blocked again. Now, the war between...
And remember, Diamond Gang, that'll be coming up. Trump promised that said that they would never close the straits again. As I'm talking right now, the straits is closed. And I'm going to show you guys the events that led up to that.
Israel, the U.S., and Iran, again, is in a ceasefire right now. That ceasefire expires only in a few days from now. President Trump signaling that he feels confident that some sort of agreement can be reached, but these waters remain at the heart of those negotiations, and until a deal is reached, none of those ships will be moving.
We have some news right now. Iran is celebrating today because Trump is seemingly willing to give up a lot to Iran, including $20 billion of sanctions relief. He's even calling the Strait of Hormuz the Strait of Iran today. I'm not making this up. When he announced that Iran was reopening the strait, he said Iran has just announced that the Strait of Iran is fully open and ready.
Yes, he called it the Straits of Iran.
For full passage. Thank you. Strait of Iran. If Joe Biden called it the Strait of Iran, Republicans would be furious because this is giving Iran everything it wants. But that's not all. A deal on the table that they're considering, per Axios, includes that the United States would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile.
Now, remember, at the beginning of this, I thought, and I assumed they had said that they released some of this money in the beginning just to get to the negotiation tables. So I guess that wasn't true, gang.
Of enriched uranium. That right there is exactly what Donald Trump attacks President Obama for doing, literally giving up pallets of cash, billions of dollars in sanctions relief to Iran in exchange for the stockpile.
Diamond Gang, Trump's agreement mocks Obama's, but it gives them a little more than Obama's. Let's go.
Enriched uranium. Now, no deal is final yet, but today the Iranians are seemingly celebrating. Oh, and on the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is saying, well, we're still going to dictate who comes in and out, even though it's fully open. We're still going to decide whether or not a ship is deemed, quote, commercial to come in. And we're going to ask for tolls. So it's not actually.
So they're talking about still charging a $2 million toll.
Fully open the way Trump wants it to be. Spread the word, follow for more.
All right, so a lot of things happening this morning in the U.S.-Iran war, with President Trump making a series of statements that are pretty significant, where he said the Hormuz situation is over. Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. It will no longer be used as a weapon.
Come on, Diamond Gang, please and thank you. Can you guys please hit the like for me? That's all I'm asking is for a like. I don't want to keep stopping asking for likes. It's free. Please and thank you.
Against the world. He said that Iran, with the help of the United States, has removed or is removing all sea mines from the Strait of Hormuz. He said the U.S. will get all of Iran's nuclear dust or their enriched uranium, adding...
Diamond Gang, Iran denied all of this. This was so embarrassing.
No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. Lastly, he said that Israel will no longer be bombing Lebanon, saying they are prohibited from doing so by the United States. Now, diving into each one of these, the Iranian foreign minister...
Now, Diamond Gang, I thought that they were actually, myself, I thought that they were setting up for a bigger operation with this, but that was not the case. And Israel did what they wanted to do. Although they said that they wouldn't, they did.
Did say that because the ceasefire went into effect between in Lebanon with Israel, that they would be opening the Strait of Hormuz. However, the Tasnim news agency in Iran said all ships must be commercial, no military ships allowed through, and neither the ships nor their cargo could be related to hostile countries.
And you know why they said no military ships? Because they probably was thinking the same thing that I was thinking, that they setting up for a bigger operation.
Must go through the Iranian designated route, and all vessels have to coordinate their travel with the IRGC Navy. So that sounds very similar to what it was before. And President Trump made clear that the U.S. blockade will remain in effect until an entire deal is sorted out. But the Iranian Security Council, in response to that, said that if the United States does not lift our naval blockade, that it will be regarded as a violation of the truce, and they will once again shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Now, in terms of the nuclear...
Now, Diamond Gang, this is everything prior to the Strait shutting down. I always start the day before. So if you coming in here, this was yesterday's news, and it will lead up to today, all the way up into right now, real time.
Clear negotiations here, of course, a big component. Axios earlier today reported that the United States is in the middle of a 3-page plan where the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in exchange for Iran handing over that highly enriched uranium. The White House has pushed back on that, saying there's nothing about that. No funds will be changing hands is the term that they used. You know, if we walk that line, technically, unfreezing Iranian funds wouldn't necessarily be funds changing hands, but
right, because it's their money and it can help them build up, but it didn't work that way.
Either way, the White House right now is pushing back that there's not going to be any money exchanged for the Iranian nuclear program. But, you know, President Trump also today said that Iran has agreed to everything that we put on the table. If that's the case, we have to assume that there are some U.S. concessions of some sort. Lastly, in a pretty unique post, President Trump said Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the United States.
This is so crazy. Bibi don't care. At one point, it was like he was running the show. Trump finally put his foot down, and this man just disrespected him, made an excuse, and I'm going to show you it was not a reason for them to bomb.
Now, this was a ceasefire that Iran demanded be a part of the overall peace negotiations. And just yesterday, it kind of looks like the United States or President Trump pushed Netanyahu to put in place a ceasefire with Lebanon. It's less than 24 hours old at this point. For what it's worth, across the axis of resistance, the Houthis, Hezbollah, militias across Iraq and Syria and in Iran, they're celebrating this as a victory. We'll see if it actually holds, and we'll see.
It did not last long at all.
How this actually plays in to larger conversations with Iran, but prohibiting Israel from ever striking Hezbollah again is a pretty significant statement coming from the United States.
I mean,
please coming in. Can you please hit the like? Please hit the like, please, and thank you. I don't care about anything else. Just the like will do. It's free.
Clear as day to everyone around the crucial pressure point. Control over the flow of oil through the Strait, and they used it to force the United States and then Israel to the negotiation table. And today, the man who renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America announced the deal, and get this, he called the Strait of Hormuz the Strait of Iran.
I don't know if he was saying that to pacify them. I don't know what made him say this. They denied everything that this man said.
Absolutely no ambiguity as to who controls it. He gave it to him. It's theirs now, courtesy of Donald Trump. That one gaffe, it even was a gaffe, may best represent Trump's complete and total failure here. Remember, the Strait was open 10 weeks ago before this dumb war. And then when the war started, Iran shut it down, predictably, as everyone said they would. And now...
Listen, Diamond Gang, he wants this to be done and over with because his next, he's trying to get to Cuba. And I'm going to show you guys that also tonight. He wants Cuba.
Donald Trump has made it perfectly clear who is in control there and very helpfully gifted them a new name, the Strait of Iran.
After everything that's happened, Donald Trump is currently fighting for a deal with Iran that many people are saying seems like it's worse than the one we already had under Obama. The U.S.
It mimics Obama, but he gives them way more.
And Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war. One element under discussion is that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium. Some of the uranium would be shipped to a third country and some would be downblended in Iran and monitored. Iran would also be allowed to have nuclear research reactors for the production of medical isotopes, but would pledge that all of its nuclear...
And the reason why they're not willing to give it up now, and they were prior to this war, is because they don't trust us and they don't ever want to be hurt or bombed like this again.
Nuclear facilities would be above ground. He's wanting to give Iran over 10 times the amount of money Obama gave them for essentially the exact same deal. Here's some of the...
Y'all hear that? 10 times. So I don't even know why he ripped the deal with Obama up.
Details of Obama's agreement, Iran was required to ship 25,000 pounds of uranium out of the country or dilute it to lower levels. Iran couldn't enrich uranium at a level past 3.67%, which is far below the 90% required for a nuclear weapon. The deal also allowed Iran to keep a small, monitored amount of low-enriched uranium for authorized civilian uses. Sounds a lot like Donald Trump's plan, doesn't it? Except we're paying them.
Same plan, but we're paying them more. Obama did not give them $20 billion.
Over 10 times as much money. This means that U.S. troops lost their lives as well as thousands of innocent civilians and children in Iran for absolutely no reason. The same regime is in power, even more radical than the previous one, and we're fighting to get back to where Obama already had us.
This is the agreement.
Now, he's going to go over Obama's agreement, okay? I want y'all to listen to this. Please, please, please hit the like. Please and thank you. I got over 200 and I got 239 in the building. I only got 16 likes. If you like what you're watching, please hit the like. Thank you. Let's go.
That President Obama's Secretary of State, John Kerry, got Iran to sign a promise to under no circumstances ever seek, acquire, or develop any nuclear weapons. 5 other countries, China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, joined that negotiation to convince Iran.
Do you hear all those countries that joined with Obama to convince Iran to sign that deal that Trump ripped up? Now he's putting the same deal on the table, but just a little bit more money. 10 times, not a little bit, but a lot more money. So let's get into it, y'all.
To sign this deal, Iran agreed to allow hundreds of inspectors into the country to constantly monitor their activity.
Hundreds of inspectors constantly in their country to monitor what they were doing. So where was the imminent threat at? I still don't get this. Please, somebody help me.
To be sure that Iran was never developing a nuclear weapon, and the agreement was working. There was not a shred of evidence to be found anywhere by anyone, including Israeli intelligence, that Iran in any way violated their agreement with President Obama and 5 other countries involved. And so Donald Trump should be able to get the Iranians to put in writing the same thing they put in writing 11 years ago. But no one in the news media should treat that as some kind of breakthrough, because Donald Trump, in the single stupidest diplomatic action in American history, just ripped up.
He ripped that agreement up. This is insane. I got 331 in the building, 23 likes. Please and thank you. Can you please hit the like? I'm going to run this back and I'm going to let y'all hear this one more time. One more time. This deal he ripped up. Now that he's piecing together and putting it together, just like this deal that he ripped up, but he's giving Iran 10 times more. Okay? As far as money. Take it back. Let's get it. Let's get it, Diamond Gang.
Civilians and children in Iran for absolutely no reason. The same regime is in power, even more radical than the previous one, and we're fighting to get back to where Obama already had us.
This is the agreement that President Obama's Secretary of State, John Kerry, got Iran to sign a promise to under no circumstances ever seek, acquire, or develop any nuclear weapons. 5 other countries, China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, joined that negotiation to convince Iran to sign this deal.
Again, 5 other countries joined in and convinced Iran to sign that deal.
Iran agreed to allow hundreds of inspectors into the country to constantly monitor their activity, to be sure that Iran was never developing a nuclear weapon, and the agreement was working. There was not a shred of evidence to be found anywhere by anyone, including Israeli intelligence, that Iran in any way violated their agreement with President Obama and 5 other countries involved. And so Donald Trump should be able to get the Iranians to put in writing the same thing they put in writing 11 years ago. But no one in the news media should treat that as some kind of breakthrough, because Donald Trump, in the single stupidest diplomatic action in American history, just ripped up.
So he tore it up only to mimic it and then also on top of that, give Iran more money. Same deal, damn near. Let's go, Diamond Gang. It makes no sense, in my opinion.
That towering diplomatic achievement by Secretary of State John Kerry and President Obama and the other participating countries in that negotiation, all of whom worked very hard for years to convince Iran to never develop nuclear weapons and put that promise in writing. Donald Trump just ripped it up. That agreement, that successful agreement, allowed monitors from all of those countries into Iran to study.
People monitored them to make sure that they wasn't. Again, where was the threat? There was none. 437, please, y'all hit the like. I'm asking you guys, please. I got over 400. Okay, good. Now I got 326 in the room. Please hit the like. Please and thank you. It take a lot for me to put this together to convey what my observation of what's going on. You're free to feel however you want to feel. You're free to express your opinions on how you feel about what's going on. You just can't be disrespectful in my chat. That's it. That's all.
Everything that Iran was doing every day and make sure Iran was not developing nuclear weapons when Donald Trump.
Thank you to those that hit the like. It take a long time for me to put these clips together to convey what I see.
Ripped up that agreement. All of those inspectors were immediately thrown out of Iran, thrown out of the country. Now, let's see.
You hear that? They threw them out of the country.
How many inspectors Donald Trump gets back into Iran, and don't be surprised if it is zero. Donald Trump, who could not successfully negotiate an agreement to buy the silence of porn star Stormy Daniels, is now trying to get Iran to agree to what it agreed to 11 years ago. And while they're at it, please reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran had never closed before during any other presidency and any other conflict.
I'm just saying, this is what it was. This is what it was. This is where we were at before he said, I had a gut feeling. He said, I had a gut feeling. That was his reason. Along with Kushner, along with Witkoff, and along with Netanyahu, convincing him to do this. I'm just saying. There was no proof of no threats.
It took Donald Trump to achieve the closure of the Strait of Hormuz in Iran, and now Donald Trump will consider it a negotiating triumph if Iran simply reopens it. So Donald Trump's incompetent negotiators are negotiating tonight for the world as it existed before Donald Trump became president the first time. And that buffoon tore up that agreement in his first term and is now begging Iran to give him the deal that John Kerry so carefully negotiated on behalf of President Obama.
There it is. There it is. I need y'all to hit the like. We got so much information to go over. I put these together to tell a story, okay?
Let's start with this morning's breaking developments. We're seeing the markets way higher. Oil prices are down since Iran announced the Strait of Hormuz is now back open for commercial vessels. Do you see that as significant progress?
Well, Anna, I'm glad the Strait of Hormuz is open. But, you know, Donald Trump is a little.
This lasted all of not even a full 24 hours. Not even a full 24 hours.
Bit like the arsonist who lights the fire and then wants to take credit for putting it out. He breaks things. And
he got so mad today that he put the press out. He kicked them out. And I got that.
He kind of puts things together and he wants us to all say, way to go, President. You know, the Strait of Hormuz, of course, was open before President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu started this war. But we, in the meantime, have lost 13 American service members. Thousands of innocent civilians in the region have been killed. It's costing the American taxpayer $1 billion a day. Already well over $10 billion for the American taxpayer. Oil and gas prices are going up, and the aftershocks of those price increases.
Get ready, because it's really going to increase. Now his plan is to put them on a boat to seize the oil.
Are going to stay with us. So we are already a lot worse off than we would have been if they hadn't started this war in the first place.
All right, guys, we may be done finally with this stupid war in Iran. And
This is where I was. I was so happy to see this.
I stress the word may. NBC News and all other news outlets are reporting this morning that the Iranians made an announcement today that they're going to open the Strait of Hormuz to all commercial traffic for the extension of the ceasefire. That was because of the part of the ceasefire that now includes Israel no longer attacking.
I got 521 in the building, 37 likes. Can you please hit the like, please, and thank you. They're free. Keep me in the algorithm, gang. Let's go.
Lebanon. It looks like the village idiot Donald Trump clearly wants out of this war. I've been talking about that for weeks and weeks now. The Iranians may be finished manipulating him and putting themselves in a far better position now than they were before the war. And it really, I think it all boils down to Benjamin Netanyahu, to the
Bingo. It boils down to Bibi. And guess what? He could not do what Trump asked them to do, which is to cease fire.
Israelis. If the Israelis can control themselves, if Netanyahu is done and the extremist right-wing handlers, his handlers in the Knesset can control themselves, maybe it'll be over. We'll see. Before I finish, though, what did we get out of this war?
Nothing. We didn't get anything. We didn't get anything. Nothing.
For the U.S., the answer is nothing.
Breaking news, as it does appear the war with Iran is coming to an end, but Trump is still lashing out at major news networks and newspapers. Unable to...
Let me tell you something. He was lashing out at major news outlets, but guess what? He was calling them to tell them to spread the word that he had a deal. He was calling them.
Handle any criticism. Trump says the failing New York Times, fake news CNN, and others just don't know what to do. They're desperately looking for a reason to criticize President Donald J. Trump on the Iran situation. Is he talking to himself in the third person, or is he having someone else write these now? But just can't find it. Why don't they just say at the right time, job well done, Mr. President, and start to gain back their credibility? Well, Mr. President, I wouldn't say a job well done is having a bunch of servicemen.
I'm going to show you what everybody, including the Iranians, he got caught in so many lies yesterday.
Members dead as a result of your war on Iran, a war in which cost millions and millions of dollars to the U.S. taxpayers. You went that route instead of diplomacy. And many believe the same deal could have been achieved through diplomacy without having to go to violence and war. And you blew up a school of children. I've never heard Trump congratulate Obama or Biden on anything they did. And he better buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of...
It's just so crazy that we're going back to the original Obama agreement, except that Trump is giving them way more money than Obama ever released.
Criticism, especially when his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is soliciting millions of dollars to his private fund while...
We're going to get into Kushner as well, too. Cash Patel, Kushner, we're going to get into Melania Trump. We're going to get into a few things. We're going to be here for a while.
Negotiating deals for peace. Have we ever had a president with this thin of a skin? Let me know, and I'll see you back here for the 411. Boy, things have taken a turn today. Just hours ago, Trump was touting this huge victory. A peace plan was just days away with Iran, saying that Iran has announced...
Now we're going to go into where it turned left yesterday. By the end of the night, last night, the straits was closed. We're about to get into it.
It's the Strait of Iran. Yeah, he called it the Strait of Iran, is fully open and open for full passage. Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. It will no longer be used as a weapon against the world. Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all the sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz. He admonished our NATO allies and said that the Strait of Hormuz situation is now over.
He told NATO, don't come near. I showed y'all that in the beginning. He told NATO not to come near the straits. Again, the last live stream, I showed you guys. NATO was going to get together with a couple of other countries to help with the straits after the war. Trump told them, don't come near.
Said the United States will get all the nuclear dust created by our B-2 bombers and that no money will exchange hands in any way. Well, now Midas Touch is reporting that Iran is rejecting Trump's claim that Tehran agreed to hand over its enriched uranium stockpile. So much for the nuclear dust. A source close to Iran's parliament speaker said no form of nuclear material transfer to America has been negotiated. Completely.
So this was never negotiated. And I have them actually speaking out of their, you're going to hear from the horse's mouth.
Contradicting Trump. Another Iranian source called the claim another lie, adding that no major progress has been made in talks. What? Iran says any negotiations will depend on compliance with all of Iran's conditions. Here's the thing. Iran did not control the Strait of Hormuz prior to Trump's war. Now they control it. And they're deciding who passes through.
That part. They never had control of the straits. Never.
And when. What happens now is whether or not the shipping companies are comfortable sending their ships through the strait. Maersk said the safety of their ships and their crew are of the utmost importance. So they have to get safety guarantees from someone before going through the strait. So who is that going to come from? Is it going to come from Iran, the United States? Who? Because it sounds like they're not going to send any ships through until they get those.
Well, it got wild today because they were actually pow-powing.
Guarantees. I'll see you back here for the 411.
If you want to know how today's going, Donald Trump has spent the day calling a number of reporters, telling them all the things Iran has agreed to or.
Bingo. I just told y'all. He called them up to tell them about the agreement, and then he basically trashed them. Okay.
Israel has agreed to. And then we learn hours later that everything just doesn't turn out to be how he says it to be. Shouldn't surprise folks at this point, but throughout the day today, he's been calling reporters at Bloomberg, at CBS, and elsewhere, and telling them things that Iran's agreed to. And then minutes later, Iran comes out and says, no, we didn't fully agree to this. For example, he says that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be open forever. Iran says the Strait of Hormuz is only going to be open to the extent they want it to be open. They're still going to charge tolls on ships coming through. They need the IRGC, their military, to guide vessels through. And they may even block American vessels that are not deemed commercial. Trump says that Israel has agreed to stop bombing Lebanon. An Israeli drone strike killed one person in Lebanon.
Bingo. Bibi did not listen. I got to give Trump props. This was his first time. He said, you got to stop. You got to stop. In Israel, they do what they want to do.
Despite that ceasefire, one person was killed when an Israeli drone targeted a motorcycle in a city in Lebanon. At this point, reporters need to stop just reporting what Donald Trump says as though it's fact, because it almost always turns out not to be fully factual. Spread the word, follow along for more.
Iran is now openly rejecting the claims that Donald Trump made today about their enriched uranium. And
they said the claims was baseless. They did not agree to anything.
Strait of Hormuz, reminding us all they still have full control over it and are getting exactly what they wanted. They called Trump's claims about the U.S. obtaining Iran's enriched uranium baseless.
That part, Chloe, you said one thing we can probably all agree upon. This is probably not going to end well. It's not. Based off of what their next plan is, it's not going to end well.
Adding that the U.S. president's demands remain illogical and unreasonable. They even warned they will close Hormuz entirely if the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports continues, calling it a violation of the ceasefire. Trump said earlier the blockade will remain in full force on Iranian vessels. And a source close to Iran's parliament speaker says this opening of Hormuz will be practically limited with 3 conditions, adding that this.
What I don't understand, they had to have had talks for Iran to open up the straits. Why did they not get that squared away as far as the U.S. blockade? I don't get it.
This is exactly what Iran has been pursuing since the beginning of the war and is now imposing on America. All passage is going to be rerouted through Iranian waters via Larak Island, which is a historic, unprecedented change ensuring Iran's sovereignty over the strait forever. And only commercial ships will be allowed. Iran gets to decide which ships qualify. Enemy-linked vessels are excluded, and tolls still required for security provision. All transit will be coordinated with the IRG.
And Trump said he's going to start bombing again. I will show you guys that as well.
See
This is definitely not good.
Navy, with Iran's military fully controlling the passage through the strait. To think that some Trump supporters are celebrating this as if it's a win is unbelievable. Iran is getting everything they wanted, and we would have been much better off if Trump did nothing at all and kept the Obama nuclear deal.
I wish, but it is what it is.
This process should go very quickly.
I'm going to let you guys listen to Trump, announce it, say what he had to say, and yeah, it went left after this.
Most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to. You'll be very happy. The USA will get all nuclear dust. You know what the nuclear dust is? That was that white powdery substance created by our B-2 bombers, those great B-2 bombers. Late one evening, 7 months ago. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form.
I just knew when I seen him put those reporters out today, when they asked specifically about these things, he put them out. I knew from the door. I knew it.
Iran will be, and you know how we're going to get to this, right? Iran, we're going to take it anyway, but taking it that way is slightly more dangerous. But we're going to get it anyway. And very soon, this great strength will also bring about a day, 70 years in waiting.
And even to get that, it's under so much rebel. We would be over there for months. Like this is going to be a long time.
It's called a new dawn for Cuba. We're going to help them out with Cuba.
I told you guys, Cuba, he trying to hurry up and get to Cuba. He wants to close this war out to get to Cuba.
A lot of great Cuban Americans. Not too many people in this audience, I don't think, but you go to Miami.
In my opinion, it's like a kid that's done. He wants a new toy. He's tired of playing with the same red truck.
We have people, Cuban Americans, people that were brutally treated, whose families were killed and brutalized, and now watch what happens.
There have been reports that the Pentagon's preparing for military action in Cuba. Are those reports true? Is Cuba next?
Well, it depends on what your definition of military action is.
We need to get this stuff squared away with Iran before we even start thinking about even doing anything with another country. He thought it was going to be just as easy as Venezuela, and this is going bad. Real bad.
Would it look like Venezuela or Iran?
No, it really does. It depends on what your definition of military action is, as Bill Clinton would say. You understand that? No, not a lot of people don't understand that.
I just watched Trump speak at the Turning Point USA event, and he looks and sounds very unwell. He sounds weak. He sounds exhausted. And
who wouldn't be exhausted? Diamond Gang, please hit the like. Please hit the like. I got 57 likes. Can I please get 43 more likes? Please and thank you. I got over 300 people in here, 340 to be exact. If 40 people hit the like for me, I would appreciate it. It's free. Thank you.
this is probably because he spent most of the day lying to the American people, and he's doing the same thing on stage, basically repeating almost verbatim all of his Truth Social posts throughout the.
I don't understand why he went out there and said that. Just announce that there's a ceasefire. That's it. That's all. Thank you, gang. Thank you for those that hit the like. Why his credibility is gone? Like negotiations take trust. They don't trust us. This is embarrassing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, that's what he's there doing, and it's being met with applause by the Turning Point USA crowd. And I'm not sure how many people are there, but it doesn't sound very big either. He was just talking about the U.S. taking the nuclear dust in Iran, that they're going to go in with huge excavators with Iran and dig out the nuclear dust material and bring it back to the United States. And this comes as Iran has just come out and said that they are not agreeing to that. They haven't agreed to that, and that Trump is lying. And we're seeing now, based on data, that...
You know what they said today? We love to tweet. That's what they said. And I'll show you guys that.
Every ship today that's tried to go and pass through the Strait of Hormuz has had to turn around, and no ships are.
That's proof right there. Ships are turning around.
Passing through the strait. And we are learning that Israel has broken the ceasefire. Big surprise, and has launched strikes in Lebanon. So, guys, things are not going very well for Trump.
Bibi has no respect for Trump, for the United States. I showed you a video a couple live streams ago. There's a second warrant out for his arrest for war crimes, international. He broke international law. He's going rogue, and it just seems like we cannot get him to relax, period. He's going to do what he wants to do, which is just going to keep things going, and that's what he wants. That's what he wants.
Amid his continued lies. We'll see what happens here. Keep checking back for updates, and I'll see you here for the 411.
Iran says there's significant differences.
Well, there could be. Let's see what happens. If there are, we'll have to straighten it out. But I don't think there's too many significant differences.
On the blockade, Mr. President, what will it take to end the blockade?
When the agreement is signed, the blockade ends. As soon as the agreement gets signed, that's when the blockade ends.
This is stuff that you make clear, crystal clear, before you make announcements. You make these type of things crystal clear.
Have a meeting at the White House,
Who?
Sir Anthropic.
I have no idea.
We received a statement from the Khatam al-Anbiya Joint Military Headquarters, a very strong message, and it says the Islamic Republic of Iran, following previous agreements made in negotiations.
Now, this is Iran, a speaker from Iran, basically saying what they heard, what they agreed to, what they did not agree to. So let's go.
Conducted in good faith, has agreed to the managed passage of a limited number of oil and commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Unfortunately, the Americans, with their repeated breaches of the
So they said we breached, okay?
Of trust that are part of their history, continue their act of piracy and maritime theft under the pretext of so-called sanctions. For this reason, control over the Strait of Hormuz has reverted to its previous state, and this strategic waterway is under strict
So because we didn't remove our blockade, they closed it down. Let's go.
Management and control by armed forces. It is stated that as long as the United States does not end complete freedom of movement for vessels from Iran to their destinations.
And here's the thing. When I say the Straits of Iran, if you're not going to give them total control, that is it contradicts what he says. Big time. You say Straits of Iran like they have total control, then you don't give them straits. You keep the blockade there. That's not total control.
And back, the situation in the Strait of Hormuz will remain under strict control and will remain as it was before. Iran is trying to use it as a point of leverage, as a point of pressure when it comes to actually the negotiations potentially.
That's all they have left. That's all Iran have left is this right here.
Ahead between Tehran and Washington. The U.S. blockade continues. Iran is talking about further strict security measures, military actions over this Strait of Hormuz. They're saying that any passage should be with the green light of the IRGC Navy force. And this is the indicative of the very fact that the name of the game at this point, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz and when it comes to the entirety of the situation between Iran and the United States, is nothing but uncertainty.
This is nothing. This is nothing to Iran. You know, they've been put through so much and been pressured into so much. This is nothing for them to close that back up.
This is breaking news. Iran has reversed course and decided to close the Strait of Hormuz once again due to the U.S. naval blockade that President Trump says will remain in effect until a deal with Iran is struck. Things are developing quickly here in the Middle East. Follow for the latest breaking news updates.
All right, so everything yesterday that sounded like the Iran war is going in the right direction was a lie, just made up.
This is so, I mean, people were like, what?
I don't know what we do with that information at this point, but President Trump said the Strait of Hormuz was open. It was not. It is not. And the Iranian military just a few moments ago said that passage through the Strait of Hormuz has returned to its previous state of strict military control due to repeated violations by the United States. And when you look at the trackers, very few ships, we're talking about single digits still, moving through the strait. And when Iran...
And guess what? Somebody made big money. Big money off of this. And I'm going to show you guys that as well. Insider trading.
Announced yesterday that the strait was open. If you actually read the statement, it said every ship will coordinate their movement with the IRGC, as in Iran still controls the strait. And it sounded like those tolls were still going to be enforced. So the strait was not open. It is not open. We also had President Trump yesterday.
Now that's crazy, because here's the thing. Let's say we did move the blockade. I don't think that they should be charging $2 million. I just don't. That's actually committing. You can't do that. You cannot charge for them to go through the straits. That's a crime.
A couple times in recent days say that Iran has agreed to hand over their nuclear material. They have not. I don't know what else to say here. So Tasnim, a Russian or Iranian regime affiliated news organization, said enriched uranium is as sacred to us as Iranian soil and will not.
That's one thing. They're not going to negotiate to give that up. They're not. They're just not going to do it.
Be transferred anywhere under any circumstances. They went on to cite Iranian officials saying,
now maybe trying to get them to dilute it like they were going to do when we were in the 6th round of negotiations before Israel struck. Yeah, maybe that. But to give it up, they're not going to do that.
That there's no real conversation ongoing, no progress made around the nuclear program right now. There's still a lot of room between the two parties on that specific issue. So why are we out here saying that they've agreed to hand everything over? And I understand people will say, well, it needs to be a negotiating tactic. And this is just to trick the adversaries. Look, I'm in the camp that if you have to lie to the American people to trick the adversaries, you got to come up with a different method. All right.
No, this is not propaganda, Iranian news. This is just what's going on. This is the truth. This is what happened. I can't tell it no other way. I can only tell you what happened, and this happened.
It's one thing to keep information from the American people. It's another to, out of nowhere, say, hey, by the way, good news, the strait is open when it isn't. Or to say, hey, by the way.
I gave him props for standing up to Bibi, although Bibi didn't listen, but hey.
Iran has agreed to hand over all their nuclear material. That makes it sound like the war is on the verge of being over, and it is not. In fact, as we sit here today, there are no planned next round of talks.
They're mad. A lot of people are upset about this, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
We're probably going to see a ceasefire extension is probably what's going to happen. But at this point, if we look back over the last few weeks and months during this conflict, we are getting more reliable information from senior.
Bingo. And people get mad at me. But this right here is the truth. We're not getting reliable information from Donald Trump.
Officials in the Iranian government than from the president of the United States.
Again, I'm going to put this back again, and it ain't my fault.
Here today, there are no planned next round of talks. We're probably going to see a ceasefire extension is probably what's going to happen. But at this point, if we look back over the last few weeks and months during this conflict, we are getting more reliable information from senior officials in the Iranian government than from the president of the United States. And I don't think that's debatable.
It's not debatable because it's a fact. It's a fact. It's not debatable. We're not getting the truth. I don't know how much clearer I can say that. We're not. And it's sad that we have to depend on Iran to get the truth. That's insane. It's just insane.
At this point, he's just said so many things that prove not accurate in the next 12 to 24 hours. The Iranian leadership, for what it's worth, Ghalibaf, their speaker of Iranian parliament, this is the type of stuff they're putting out. He said the U.S. president raised 7 claims within an hour, and all 7 claims are false. If the blockade continues, the Strait of Hormuz will not remain open. They followed through on that. He said,
right, and it's closed. So who was telling the truth? Who was telling the truth?
Movement in the Strait will take place according to the designated route and with Iran's approval. Again, that is in line with what they said yesterday. They said the opening or closing of the Strait and the rules that apply to it will be determined on the ground, not on social networks. Like all of that, I don't like any of that. I don't like that scenario. I think that it's bad for the United States, bad for our allies around, bad for the global economy. But that actually lines up with what's happening.
That part. Okay, so it's happening in real time. They said it and it's happening. Trump said something else and it's not happening.
Compared with these random statements we get from the president that do not match reality on the ground and have not for some time now.
They don't need nuclear weapons as a deterrent. Their deterrent is their ability to shut down the Straits of Hormuz anytime they want to.
Bingo.
And nobody can take that away from them because they can do it with drones. They can do it with small boats. They thought all this time they needed nuclear weapons to make people respect their sovereignty and not attack them. The truth is their control over those straits is their strongest defense. Trump and the Iranians have similar negotiating.
It is. It's their strongest defense. And they got it. They got the biggest card ever.
Styles, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Eventually you get there. I think right now, this is very typical in ceasefire and peace talk negotiations. One side wants the other to do something first. The other side wants to do it the other way around. Pakistanis have been very patient during this process.
They have, and shouts out to Pakistan because they made all of this possible. They temporarily put a pause on the war. They did by trying to get the two together to negotiate. My opinion, it's about to escalate heavy.
So I think we'll get there fairly soon.
On the issues that have been raised, both in their media and by some U.S. officials, none of them can be confirmed. For example, Iran's enriched uranium is...
Okay, so y'all going to hear it right out the horse's mouth. I need y'all, please. I got 80 likes. I got 341 in the room. Can 20 people please hit the like? Please and thank you. Can you do that for me? All right, let's go. We're going to hear it right out the horse's mouth.
Under no circumstances going to be transferred anywhere. Just as Iran's soil is important and sacred to us, this matter is also important to us.
So y'all heard him. Under no circumstances are we giving them anything.
This issue has never been raised. It has never been presented by us as an option that Iran's enriched uranium would be transferred to the United States. There are various options for resolving issues that are part of our nuclear program. But as I said, the transfer of Iran's enriched material to the United States.
Here's the deal, okay? Prior to this war, and I'm going to say this again, we were in the 6 rounds of negotiation. They literally agreed to dilute the uranium and sell it as something else. We was there. We were there. But thanks to Kushner, thanks to Wickoff, and thanks to Netanyahu, they convinced Trump, in my opinion. He said, I had a gut feeling. There was no other proof that there was any imminent threats. Please understand that. There was no proof. All right, let's go, Diamond Gang.
It's never been an option for us. Declaring that a naval blockade exists would be considered a violation of the ceasefire if it continues, and Iran will certainly take the necessary measures regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Look, it was very clear who the Iranian negotiators were. The American side was also clear. Therefore, anything stated by U.S. officials outside of that is nothing more than rhetoric.
So y'all hearing it from the horse's mouth. Rhetoric. That's all it said. That's Trump's rhetoric. They did not agree to any of this.
Negotiations in Islamabad were held between Mr. Mohammed Bakr Kalibaf, the Speaker of Parliament, and the other side was the U.S. Vice President, with Pakistan acting as mediator. It is very clear.
Until we agree on the framework, we cannot, set the date. As soon as we agree, there was significant, actually progress made. But then this maximalist approach by the other side, trying to make Iran an exception in international law, prevented us to reach an agreement. I have to be very crystal clear that Iran would not accept to be an exception from the international law. Anything that we are going to be committed, we are going to commit within these international regulations.
President Trump said that if there is no deal by Wednesday, there will be military.
Now listen to what he say. Listen to this. This is crazy. Now they're just looking at Trump like he's a joke because he's not telling the truth. How can you take somebody serious?
What's your response?
American side tweets a lot, talks a lot, sometimes confusing, sometimes, contradictory in the same statement.
Contradictory, we tweet a lot. This is how they're thinking.
He said other things as well. So I don't want to judge what he means. It is up to American people should decide whether his statements are consistent and are.
So they're basically saying we need to figure out if his statements is consistent or if they're true. It's up to us, but they don't believe him. They don't.
In accordance with the international law or not.
Attention, all ships, attention.
Now, this is them warning, okay? Now, later on, they pow.
Attention, all ships, attention, all ships. This is Sepah Navy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Sword Navy. From now on, all navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden. No.
So y'all see it right there. That's them shutting the straits down for the 50th time. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Breaking news out of Iran this hour, and Tehran has closed the Strait of Hormuz again.
Diamond Gang, I got 405 in the building. Can I get 15 more likes, please? And thank you. 15 more likes. Let's go.
The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps says the strait has reverted to its previous state, meaning the waterway is again closed and under the control of Tehran. They say that is because of US, quote, piracy, as they put it, as Washington has continued to enforce its blockade of Iranian ships and ports. The strait had been declared open to commercial shipping on Friday by Iran, and some ships had already begun to transit.
Now, Diamond Gang, in a minute, I want to take a break from the war, but we'll get right back on it. I need to give you guys an update on Patel. I need to give you an update on Melania Trump and that situation, that Epstein situation, and then we'll go right back to the war.
According to the spokesperson of the Qatam Al-Anbiya central headquarters, Iran, in line with previous agreements reached in negotiations and acting in good faith, agreed to allow a limited number of oil tankers.
So they agreed. They said, okay, we'll open the straits, but a limited amount of oil tankers will be able to get through. Once they seen that our blockade was still there, it was over.
And commercial vessels to pass through the Strait of Hormuz in a controlled manner. However,
and I think once Trump got up there and made those untrue statements, that enraged them even more to do it.
United States, in line with its repeated past breaches of commitments, continues acts of piracy and maritime theft under what it calls a blockade. The spokesperson said that for this reason, control of the Strait of Hormuz has returned to its previous state, and that this strategic strait is under strict management and control of the armed forces. The spokesperson also said that as long as the United States does not end restrictions on the full freedom of vessel movement from Iran to...
Why call it the Straits of Iran if you wasn't going to give them true full control?
Destinations and from destinations to Iran, the situation in the Strait of Hormuz will remain under tight control and unchanged.
According to the UK Maritime Trade Organization, a tanker 20 nautical miles northeast of Oman was approached by two.
So listen up, gang. This is when the firing started.
IRGC gunboats. They were fired up. Those gunboats fired upon the tanker.
So they're serious. They're serious. If you try to go through the straits, we are going to pow. We're going to do whatever we got to do. And they have those small boats. And I showed you guys a couple live streams back how much damage they can do to those tankers. They can do damage.
the tanker and crew are reported to be safe, but this is just yet another escalation. If we remember a couple days ago, Donald Trump said that if any of these gunboats were to stop the flow of vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, they would be bombed to hell. So I think, this is a very...
Did y'all hear that? Bomb to hell. That's what they said. And they're doing what they said they were going to do. This can only escalate, y'all. He is thinking about putting people on those boats, our military on those boats to seize the oil. I'm praying that this doesn't happen and there's another extension. I promise you I am. Let's go.
Dangerous escalation.
All right, so Iran is shooting at everything in the Strait of Hormuz today. They've already carried out more attacks in the last couple hours against commercial vessels than they did during the entirety of the ceasefire, 10 days on or about, all combined. All right, so
they're not playing. This is going to escalate, gang. Let me get 7 more likes. I got 400 people in the room. Please, 7 more likes. Thank you.
Hours ago, Iran put out a statement saying that the Strait of Hormuz was back to being closed because the United States had not lifted our blockade of Iranian ports. So we kind of saw this coming. They talked about this yesterday. And I'm seeing folks say, well, listen, there's just miscommunication. The IRGC is going rogue. We've got the Iranian government that...
It wasn't miscommunication.
has struck all these deals with President Trump. That's what the president said yesterday, is they've agreed to everything. We're all on the same page. This is almost over. No doubt there could be division within the Iranian government right now, but there's no indication that that's happening. In fact, if we look at their statements and their actions in recent days, they lined up pretty closely. So if we go back to the beginning of the ceasefire, there clearly was a communications issue. And Iran was continuing to conduct attacks against Israel and other states in the Middle East after the ceasefire went into place. That tapered off after about 12, 18 hours. Since then, they've been in lockstep. And there has not been any attacks against commercial.
Right. So the only one that did it was Israel against Hezbollah. They did it.
Vessels or any vessels in the Strait of Hormuz or the Persian Gulf since the ceasefire went into place, until the government just a few hours ago said no longer, that is off because the blockade has not been lifted. And almost immediately, the IRGC Navy went back into attacking commercial vessels. So could there be infighting in Iran with different factions trying to position to see who has more power and who's actually calling the shots? No doubt. But based off what we're
that might be a possibility. That may be a possibility.
Seeing right now, the Iranian actions are lining up pretty closely with the official statements coming out of their government. And right now, that means nobody's moving through the Strait of Hormuz.
This is breaking news. The British Maritime Trade Operations Agency released an alert today saying a tanker was attacked by 2 IRGC gunboats about 20 nautical miles north of Oman. This comes after Iran.
And listen, Trump got so upset. He said, he called it, yeah, they got a little cute today. I don't think that's a little cute. That's more than just a little cute. And I'm going to show you guys that.
Iran announced the Strait of Hormuz is closed once again.
We have major Iran war developments right now as Donald Trump spent the money in the Oval Office with Joe Rogan discussing psychedelics. Iran effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz, blasted the president of the United States, fired upon multiple commercial vessels, and according to the Wall Street Journal, more than 20 vessels have been forced to turn around in the Strait of Hormuz over the past several hours because
20 vessels, y'all. That's more than what was getting through since the ceasefire.
Because Iran has closed the strait.
Remember, it was in the single digits.
Why has Iran closed the strait? Well, because the United States has imposed a naval blockade on Iranian ports and will not remove the naval blockade. This is in direct response to Donald Trump's actions. This is not Iran doing it on its own. Ceasefire negotiations, to the extent that there are any, seem to be hanging in the balance, hanging by a thread right now. And well, we'll see what happens next. But Iran is firing back at the president, and seemingly happening after the stock market has closed, after oil futures, before oil futures are.
And they made billions. Y'all hear me? I'm going to show you. I don't know. This happened. Now this is becoming, like they said, a pattern. Every time Trump makes an announcement, will they investigate? I don't know. Let's go.
open. So this is, to me, another market manipulation play by the president, and Iran is firing back. Spread the word, follow for more.
If you don't have a deal by Wednesday when the ceasefire ends, will you extend the ceasefire or will
I
you
don't
start
know.
after
Maybe
the
not.
attacks? Yeah.
Maybe I won't extend it.
Okay.
But the blockade is going to remain.
Well, you're gonna start.
But maybe I won't extend it. So you have a blockade. And unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again. Thank you.
You hear him? We're going to have to start dropping bombs again. Gang, get ready. I wasn't live for 2 days. I had to go live on this one.
Very much, everybody. Thank you. I think it's going to happen.
What about the UFOs, Mr. President?
All right, good news for Russia here. The United States just
They are making out like fat cats. Let's get into it. Russia, Russia, Russia. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this.
lifted oil sanctions, allowing more revenue to flow to Iran's #1 ally in a country that has assisted.
Do y'all hear that? We lifted more sanctions off of Russia. I'm gonna take it back. Iran's #1 ally. They're helping them. Remember that with drones and everything else. Let's get into it.
So you have a blockade, and unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I think it's going to happen.
What about the UFOs, Mr. President?
All right, good news for Russia here. The United States just lifted oil sanctions, allowing more revenue to flow to Iran's #1 ally in a country that has assisted Iran directly in their targeting and killing of American service members so far.
Thanks, Diamond Gang, for the likes. I appreciate it. I'm at 103. I appreciate you guys. So y'all hear that, right? Y'all hear that?
Far in this war. Late last night, Friday night, this information was put out, which contradicts Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent 2 days ago being asked this question. He said, no, we are not going to renew those sanction waivers. Turns out that was a lie, because they did. And they waited until after business hours, after the close of business on Friday. And the idea there is you put out bad information Friday night, because the reporters have gone home and they might not work on it that night. And you got the weekend, everybody's taken off. And then by Monday,
they didn't want us to know that. They didn't want this to get out, but we did.
The story's changed. There's something else happening. We've forgotten. We're not going to focus on it. That's when bad news comes out, or news that they don't really want to get attention comes out across administrations. This is a traditional government thing. DW reports the license issued late Friday permits countries to purchase Russian oil loaded on vessels as of Friday through May 16th. The decision to waive sanctions on Russian and Iranian oil was met with criticism from U.S. lawmakers who slammed the move, saying waivers helped the economies of Iran while it was at war with the United States, and of Russia while it's at war with Ukraine. The move has undermined efforts to deprive Russia of oil revenue needed for its war on Ukraine, complicating Washington's relations with its allies.
Y'all hear that? Hit the like, Diamond Gang. I cannot believe that we did that again, but let's go. Or we renewed it.
So the argument here is that we have to do that in order to keep oil prices down. We are assisting in order to do that, to keep oil prices down, we are assisting the Russian economy, which in turn is assisting Iran in staying in this fight even longer. So great.
Again, they're helping them with intelligence. They're helping them with drones. In my opinion, I think China is helping too, but that's just my opinion. Let's go.
News coming out Friday night.
Breaking news. Trump posted on his Truth Social this morning saying, anyone sick of winning yet? With a video of him at a rally telling people they will be sick of winning. Again, I'm going to ask, where is the win? Yesterday, he announced the Strait of Hormuz was fully open. But that's not a win. That's what we had before we started bombing Iran. I guess Trump...
I was going to say, get him out of here, Jumpman. Nobody's grifting. I haven't asked for a cash app or none of that. I don't grift. Let's go.
Thinks if you say it enough, some people will actually believe it. And I believe he actually believes his own lies. But speaking of the Strait of Hormuz, yesterday, after he announced it, that the strait was fully open, he then posted that he has a full blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So for that very reason, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz once again. Then Trump said that he has agreed with Iran to go into Iran and help dig out the uranium that is under the rubble. And then Iran responded to this and said that it's a complete lie. The IRGC spokesperson says that
Diamond Gang, I don't know if it was market manipulation or not.
Iran's uranium is a sovereign asset for peaceful energy, not weapons. It is managed by the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran under national oversight. Claims that Iran will give up its uranium rights are false. Iran will continue to defend its lawful rights peacefully. Again, I believe Iran over Trump. Trump constantly lies.
Again, everybody is saying they believe Iran over Trump. This is crazy. And it's sad that we got to depend on information from Iran.
To us has been caught in lies over and over. So far, I've yet to see a lie come from the Iranian side. Not one. Here's why I can't trust anything the president says. He says the strait is open, and then Iran agreed to it. Then he says
you said they're going to give it up, whether they like it or not. We'll have to see. They're going to put up a fight, then we're going to be over there even longer. I'm just saying. And he's already ready to go move on to Cuba. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
the U.S. has a blockade. And then a few seconds later, he says the U.S. may need to start dropping bombs again. All this in 5 minutes. Now, Iran has closed all schools and universities. Looks like Iran is getting ready to start this war back up. And by the way, while Trump was doing all this yesterday, a few minutes before that he declared the strait is open, someone shorted oil and made major bank. And
y'all hear that? They made major money. And we're going to get into just how much money they made.
They would have been wrong. They would have lost $760 million. This Trump administration is nothing but low down and dirty.
Iran's announcement yesterday that the Strait of Hormuz was now completely open was greeted with cautious optimism. But then it became clear that vessels still had to take routes designated and controlled by Tehran, and that it wouldn't remain open unless the U.S. lifted its own blockade. And there's also been a blizzard of contradictory statements when it comes to progress.
But here's the thing. Who in the chat believes, put a 1 in the chat if you believe that the blockade should remain. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe that the blockade should be gone. If he claims that this is the Strait of Iran and they running it, why leave the blockade? That's all I'm saying. What's up, Bossy?
In the peace talks. The real issue is that President Trump seems to believe that a deal between Tehran and Washington, what would be a major diplomatic achievement, can be done in a matter of days. But what he describes as insignificant.
Okay, so y'all saying leave the blockade there? Okay, I got some people saying don't leave the blockade there. Here's the deal. Okay, leave the blockade there. Then why not make that clear? And then why say they have control the Straits of Iran? Like what? The blockade is not good for the rest of the U.S. The blockade might be the only real leverage that Iran has. No, I'm not talking about Iran. I'm talking about the U.S. blockade. Who believes that if he gave them control of the straits, that our blockade should stay there? If you think our blockade, the U.S. blockade, should stay there, put a 1 in the chat. If you think that it shouldn't, that since we gave them control of the straits, that we should remove our blockade, put a 2 in the chat. It's our war. Trump is trying to keep the oil prices in favor of the U.S. and the whole. I can't see that. Y'all comments is moving fast. What up, Rock? Rock James, what's up? Good to see you. Okay. So some of y'all think that they should remove it. Yeah, why give them control if you're going to keep the blockade? Like what? Blockade for now until Iran and Washington come to a deal. He should have made that clear, and he shouldn't have said the Straits of Iran. You're saying two different things at one time. You feel me? Oh, they control it. Yeah, it's open, and they promise never to close it again. But we're going to still keep our blockade there. Like, I don't know. This is Israel war. I agree, Anthony. It is. It's their. It ain't their straits. It wasn't their straight darkness before it began. It's their straits now because they that was their only major card to play. But prior to the war, nobody owned the straits. You can't. No, you can't. I can't remember the name of it, but you can't control a waterway. The straits belong to them. not the U.S. Thanks, guys, for participating. All right, let's go. Let's hear the rest. Thank you. I love my gang.
Differences amount to what would be major concessions by Iran. And Iran's new leaders, more hardline, aren't indicating they're ready to make them. The one glimmer of hope is that there does seem to be progress behind the scenes on a memorandum of understanding. Both sides would agree to embark on a period of more detailed discussions lasting about 60 days. Even that may not be enough to reach what would be a complex, comprehensive, and controversial deal. But maybe enough just to hold this fragile ceasefire in place.
2 Iranian gunboats have opened fire on a tanker about 20 miles northeast of Oman. That put
I'm telling you, I never expected them to do this. Maybe tell them to turn around, but I never thought that they would start firing. I didn't think that at all.
Them very close to the Strait of Hormuz. The captain of the vessel saying that the 2 IRGC gunboats approached his vessel, his tanker. There was no radio communication. He tried to call out to them. They didn't respond, and then they opened fire. The tanker and the crew are safe, we understand.
Thank God both of them are safe, but that I know that was scary.
But this does seem to indicate that Iran is putting a chill on.
Our presence will be over there for quite some time, because once this is all said and done, to make sure that the straits remain and people are safe, we're going to be over there for a long time. Trump has no idea. I don't think that he thinks that first and foremost, in my opinion, he thought that this was going to be an open and closed shut case like Venezuela. I don't think that he truly understands war. I don't. Like, this is like, it's not like we'll be able to pull our troops and come home when this is all said and done. We're going to be over there for a while.
Any tanker movement through the Strait of Hormuz. Just a couple of hours ago, they said they were rescinding their opening of the Strait of Hormuz. There was anger expressed in Iran yesterday following their announcement of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. When President Trump said the U.S. blockade would remain in place, the Iranians reacted negatively. And this does put not just a chill on the movement of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, but also on the possibility of peace talks coming here.
That part. And Pakistan worked so hard, y'all, to put this together, and I'm just hoping, but it's not looking good. If he does what he's planning to do, to put them on those the military on those boats to cease that oil, this is going to escalate tremendously.
To Islamabad over the next couple of days. They were expected on Tuesday, but there's been strong pushback from Iranian officials about President Trump's statements about Iran agreeing to no nuclear enrichment.
Chip Wellington, you said he's doing it on purpose. What is he doing on purpose? Put it in the chat for me, please.
Agreeing to hand over their highly enriched uranium, the so-called nuclear dust, as President Trump.
All opinions are respected here. You just can't be disrespectful. I want to hear your opinion. You could, if it's opposing to mine, I don't care. Put it in the chat. Just don't curse, misspell curse words, and don't be rude. All right, let's go.
Trump calls it. There are bumps in these talks. The talks, however, the Iranians saying they're inches apart, the Pakistani mediators saying that 80% is done. President Trump has sounded positive, but the latest development in the Strait of Hormuz.
Listen, Diamond Gang, please and thank you. Hit the like. Let me tell y'all something that I announced at the beginning of my live stream that a lot of you guys don't know, and I'm happy to see some of y'all back. My channel got demonetized for talking about this stuff. I haven't been live for 2 days because I was just that upset. But because I have subscribers, because I have people that's waiting for me to go live, I felt that it was important for me to go live for y'all. So when I say hit the like, you know what I'm saying? It's free. I mean, hit the like. I can't ask for a cash app. I can't. Well, I can ask for a cash app, but I don't do that. But I can't ask for a super chat or a super sticker no more because my channel was in a sweep. A lot of channels was demonetized for talking about politics. Okay. And mine happened to be caught up in that sweep. Right now, it's in the appeal process. I haven't received a response whether they're going to give me mines back, but it don't even matter at this point. I'm doing it for a bigger reason. So I'm just telling y'all. All right, let's go.
Really throws the expected talks here in a couple of days, throws that into doubt.
Iran has now...
It's all good because I'm going to work hard to get it back. Not only that, gang, it's because I'm talking about a trending topic and because I'm hitting views that people that's way larger than me never hit, I knew eventually that those bots were going to get me. They run robots through the system to check channels and things like that. They want to make sure it's not repetitive content. They want to make sure you're doing commentary. They want to make sure you're doing everything top notch. YouTube don't want to pay people for the same stuff over and over again. So I get it. It's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. And I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? But y'all meant more to me than anything. I was like, I got a friend, a partner that got a channel that's similar to mine's that it happened to him also. And he was scared to go live. I'm like, I got an audience. I'm not disappointing my audience. So I got my ass together and I got my ass up here. So it's all good. You know what I'm saying? I just love, I love doing what I do. You know, I love to reading the comments. I love when people participate. Like, I feel like I got my own community. So it is what it is. I will be monetized again. So let's go.
Once again closed the Strait of Hormuz, and they're saying they won't even negotiate with us until we drop our unreasonable demands and end the U.S. blockade. A military spokesperson said Iran...
But I'm just telling y'all that because I took a chance. I've never had a video taken from me. I've never had a strike. I never had none of that. My channel is in good standings. It's still in the algorithm. I'm still getting views. I'm still getting replays. So I'm pretty positive about the outcome of that. But I'm like, hey, hell, I'm going to take the chance because I have an audience. They expect to see me. I've been doing war updates for about a month straight now. But my other topics is celebrity gossip on my channel. So, hey, it is what it is. Let's go.
Iran had in good faith agreed to the managed passage of a limited number of oil tankers and commercial ships through Hormuz. However, the Americans, unfortunately, with repeated breaches of their commitments, as is their record, continue piracy and maritime robbery under the so-called blockade. For this reason, control of the Strait of Hormuz has returned to its previous state until the U.S. fully restores freedom of navigation for...
Yeah, it's freedom of speech, but, you know, they want to make sure that people is not... You know, some people, they get on here and they just upload stuff. They don't do no editing, no commentary, no nothing. And when they run those bots through the system, the bots can't tell. A human got to see. I'm branding my channel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm doing things right. So I'm not concerned or worried about it, you know? It's going to be what it's going to be. All right, y'all, let's go. Let's get back into this. Thanks, though, for everybody to hit the like.
Vessels traveling to and from Iran, nothing is going to change. Iran has also not agreed to resume talks and even told Pakistan it will not return to negotiations until Trump ends the U.S. blockade.
And now that part, I'm kind of mad about that because it's like, I mean, I think they all need to get back to the table. And I believe that I believe that much in Pakistan that they're going to convince Iran to come back to the table.
Drops what it calls unreasonable demands. This comes after Trump said yesterday a deal could come in a day or two. They say they don't want to enter into any negotiation or meeting which is doomed to fail and which can be a pretext for another round of escalation. Once again, it seems like Iran was trying to cooperate, but the United States didn't hold up its side of the agreement.
Regional sources tell Fox News that multiple vessels tried to pass through the Strait of Hormuz today and were turned around due to warnings from Iran's...
Like I said, I knew that they would turn them around, but I didn't think that they would start, you know, firing.
IRGC. We also know at least 2 vessels were fired upon, according to maritime observers. This is taking place as there are questions about the possibility of an agreement in the coming days between the United States and Iran, and a blockade of Iranian ports continues. Now, today, Iran's Supreme National Security Council released a statement saying that new proposals were delivered to them by a Pakistani delegation late last week and that they are currently under review. We know a number of vessels.
Now that I wasn't aware of, that they they said new proposals and they're reviewing them. So hopefully it'll stay that, like, I do not want this to escalate.
Were able to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, but other regional sources are describing the strait as effectively closed due to the fact that the Iranians are still firing on commercial ships. Now,
but Diamond Gang, guess who could get through? China.
President spoke about this briefly today from the Oval Office during an executive order signing ceremony, and he said the Iranians got cute today, and that.
Yes, he did, and I'm going to show y'all that. He said they got cute today. I said, what is cute?
That they will not be able to blackmail the United States as these negotiations continue.
That part, I forgot that. He did say that as far as blackmailing, they won't be able to blackmail us.
The conflict over the checkpoint where 20% of the world's oil supply passes through has caused...
Now, Diamond Gang, once this clip is over, we're going to take a break, but we will get right back to it. I'm going to give you guys an update on Melania Trump and as well as Cash Patel. It's not looking good for him at all. And I told you guys a while back, once they got rid of Kristi Noem, I said Bondi was next, and I said Patel was next. I promise y'all, I said this over a month ago, and it's happening.
An energy crisis. On Friday's news that the Strait had reopened, U.S. crude oil prices fell nearly 10% to just over $85 a barrel. That's still about $18 more than before the war started. But it was enough to fuel a big day for investors on Wall Street. The Dow gained nearly 2% on...
Now, check this out. Check this out. Insider trading, every time he makes an announcement.
Friday, while the S&P and the NASDAQ closed at all-time highs. But Iran's announcement today that it is reasserting control over the strait could once again send oil prices higher. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tayeb and his team got an exclusive up-close look at what is happening in this waterway at a critical moment for the world.
Good morning. Well, we spent weeks.
You said, but Trump is escalating so much. Yeah, Cash Patel said he's going to sue them people. We're going to get into it. That was crazy. We're going to get into it.
Planning how to get into the Strait of Hormuz, mapping routes, exit plans, and what we do if something went wrong. Now, when that fragile Pakistani brokered ceasefire took hold, we made the call and crossed from one Gulf state to another, only to find the world's most critical waterway still on edge.
No, I'm not outdated. What I do is or you're purposely, no, I'm not selecting that. What I do is I start from the day before and then I'll bring it all the way. The last time I went live, I'll take it from there and then I'll bring it current. That's how I do it. Okay. So yeah, we'll get to what's going on in real time and it's soon.
As we drove in from land, we could clearly see.
Some people may only come to my channel just to watch the war, what's going on with the war. So they might not have known what happened yesterday or the day before. That's how I do it.
Vessel after vessel stuck in the Strait of Hormuz.
It's extraordinary to think that this waterway is where 20% of the world's energy passes through and is in front line between the U.S. and Iran.
You know what? You make a good point. Peach, you make a good point. Is it insider trading if the president's patterns are highly predictable? You make a bomb point. You're right. Maybe, maybe not. But it just seemed like every time he making a, I don't know. It seemed like somebody be in that room. 34 felony count purchase. Oh, I can't say a pow, but has access to nukes. I know. crazy.
There's no easy way to access the strait. Since the start of the war, Gulf nations have forbidden journalists from doing so. So we decided to pose as tourists as we negotiated with a guide to get access to the world's most contested waterway.
Can we do $100?
To take us as far out as was safe.
Okay, no problem. 120.
With the deal in place, we boarded a traditional dhow, the kind of boat that has been used by fishermen in the Gulf for generations.
You know what? You got to give it up to reporters. They risk their life all the time covering the news.
On the water, and the scenery was majestic. We also noticed we were under the watchful eye of the Coast Guard, who have been closely monitoring these seas, which Iran claims to have mined. At one point, we were also followed by some dolphins who weaved through the wake, rising and dipping in the sunlight.
Ain't no way.
We've only been on this journey for a few minutes now. We've already seen ship after ship just stuck there, and they've been like that for weeks now.
We're also going to go over, do y'all know that they are over there? Our military is over there and they're rationing food, like they're running out of hygiene products. This is crazy. Let's go.
For 7 weeks, Tehran has effectively weaponized the Strait of Hormuz by only allowing its own vessels and that of its allies to pass, effectively cutting off one of the world's most vital.
If y'all can remember, last week it was closed, but China got through.
Energy corridors and sending global prices soaring.
Thank you for letting us on board.
This isn't our first time in these waters. Back in 2019, we were given rare access from the Iranian authorities to enter its side of the strait. It was a time of sky-high tensions. Iran had been blamed for several attacks on oil tankers, and the then Trump White House was attempting to form an international coalition to defend shipping.
Make no mistake, this is perhaps one of the most volatile areas in the world.
They crazy because there's no way about no reporting.
It's also one of the most important. Every single day, $1.3 billion worth of crude oil transits through here.
Even then, it would have been hard to imagine the crisis facing the strait today.
Not only has Iran blockaded these waters, so too has President Trump in an attempt to choke off Iran's own energy exports.
Iran can take some pain. I'm going to tell you that. They are very resilient.
Following a ceasefire in Lebanon, Iran said the strait was now fully open, but the president kept the U.S. blockade in place, leading Tehran to reclose it.
And this morning,
I'm surprised they didn't close it right away once Israel made that attack.
Iran's military said it will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed in response to the U.S. maintaining its blockade. Now, there are approximately 800 vessels still stuck there, and we saw many of them, so it's
Did y'all hear that? 800 vessels still stuck.
clear the standoff in the world's most vital waterway is not over.
Iran's new supreme leader and their vice president have both just sent warnings to the United States, saying they're ready to continue fighting at any moment. In a message posted on Telegram, their new supreme leader
So if you guys don't think this is escalating, it is.
says the country's navy is ready to inflict new bitter defeats on its enemies. And the vice president says either they give us our rights at the negotiating table or we get in the battlefield, adding that Iran is in charge of management of Hormuz and will respond with full force if war continues.
So both sides, us and them, they are ready to amp it up.
At the same time, Iran has now turned back at least 20 vessels trying to cross Hormuz today, and the U.S. blockade has turned back a total of 23 vessels. So now it seems like we've entered a complete shutdown of Hormuz. Before the U.S. blockade, vessels from Iran and its allies were allowed to sail through Hormuz, but now the U.S. is prohibiting that from happening. So we might be seeing the first ever complete shutdown.
Now remember, Diamond Gang, I said I think China might get involved.
Of Hormuz. This will be detrimental for gas prices. Donald Trump's genius idea is to make the Strait of Hormuz situation even worse, while at the same time being extremely unreasonable during negotiations, leading to further escalation in this war.
Major break happening right now as
All right, y'all, we're going to get into Cash Patel. This is insane. Let's go. They're saying that he has a major drinking problem, allegedly. Let's go.
Cash Patel is in danger of losing his job. This comes as new reporting from Sarah Fitzpatrick with The Atlantic details colleagues describing Cash Patel's behavior as erratic and him engaged in heavy drinking. And at
They
times,
said they had to use a battery ram to try to get him up.
his security detail has had difficulty waking him because he has been so drunk. In one instance, it was described that door breaching equipment was requested to reach Cash Patel while he was in a locked room and was being unresponsive. Colleagues describe him as being a national security vulnerability at this point. Guys, serious stuff alleged to be happening with Cash Patel. And we have to question now his ability to run the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It sounds like he's not able to.
What y'all think about this? What y'all think about this Cash Patel? Not too long ago, they caught him partying with those, what was it, hockey players? This is crazy.
We cannot have a drunk running that department right now. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
We have some major news tonight. An Atlantic investigation has revealed that Cash Patel, the FBI director, has a significant drinking problem to the point that FBI officers and officials had to request literally a battering ram.
Here's the thing. I mean, there got to be proof. If they called the police and they had to use a battery ram, he's saying that he wants to sue them, but it's like the proof is out there. Let's go.
To try to wake him up because he was so intoxicated. And now officials are saying this could compromise security and the FBI response time. For several officials say that Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. He's known to drink at Ned's Club in Washington, D.C., while in the presence of White House and administration staff, also at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas.
So he's doing it in front of his coworkers.
On multiple occasions, his security detail had difficulty waking Patel up because he was intoxicated. A request for, quote, breaching equipment, normally used by SWAT for hostage rescue teams to quickly gain entry into buildings, was made because Patel had been unreachable behind locked doors. This is the FBI director at a time where threats to our nation.
That part, you said I would be an alcoholic too after looking at those files, period. This is, yeah, we got freedom of speech. We do. All right, let's go.
Are rising. Major news. Spread the word. Follow for more.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
That's not real. Just seeing Cash night out. Is this real? This ain't real. Hold on. All right. It's got to be an AI video. Sorry.
Trump's not the only one with AI. Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom did that. Listen, y'all. Okay, let's go. Let's go. I'm sorry. Gavin got Trump to the last week when he Gavin Newsom got Trump too with a picture, with an AI picture of Trump as the Antichrist. Gavin Newsom was getting paybacks. They should have never made fun of him being dyslexic. Let's go.
Posted that response to The Atlantic's reporting on Cash Patel being absent and having a major drinking problem. Well, Cash Patel has responded to The Atlantic's reporting saying, see you and the entire entourage of false reporting in court, but do keep at it with the fake news. Actual malice standard is now what some would call a legal layup. So wait, he's trying to argue that he's not a drunk when we've seen this?
Y'all remember this? This don't look good. Time again. You said it takes a village to get Patel. Oh shoot. My chest is hurting, y'all. Okay, let's go. I can't- I'm so sorry, y'all. This is so unprofessional. Oh God. Oh, I got tears coming on my eyes. Okay, let's go, y'all.
Yeah, he's doing a good job convincing us of that. Well, now we have a response from the writer of this article, Sarah Fitzpatrick, as she was just on MS Now, and she's addressing Kash Patel's legal threats.
The FBI responded to The Atlantic with a graceful and eloquent statement attributed to Patel. And here's what he said. Print it, all false. I'll see you in court. Bring your checkbook. Graceful, eloquent. Okay, joining.
Hi, Lydia. Y'all, I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. This is not cool.
Me now is the reporter who broke that story, staff writer for The Atlantic, Sarah Fitzpatrick. First, I just want to give you an opportunity to respond to this reaction to your piece, because Patel's advisor, Erica Knight, called your piece fabricated stories. She said that every serious DC reporter passed on. Sarah Fitzpatrick and Jeffrey Goldberg printed it.
So this is the person that printed this story out, did this story rather. Let's hear what she got to say, y'all. She's not scared of his threats, though.
Anyway, lawsuit is being filed. What do you say to that?
I say that I am a very careful, very diligent, award-winning investigative reporter with a history of award-winning work across multiple organizations. You and I, in fact, have worked together previously. I stand by every word of this reporting.
Let's go. Y'all hear her? Let's go. She says she stand by every word. Y'all hear that? Yeah, this is crazy. Hit the like, y'all. Please hit the like.
Excellent attorneys, and it is a surprise. It is a surprising statement, but a very telling statement, I believe. And I would also note, we reached out for comment to the White House and to the Justice Department, neither of which disputed anything. We gave multiple opportunities, including 19 detailed questions. So we stand by every word.
She says, bring it, Kash Patel. What's amazing to me right now is seeing the feminine rising, the feminine awakening happening as women are moving and taking down these powerful men. It's true.
Hey, who run the world? Girls. We run this, girls.
Really remarkable. It's a movement that we are seeing right now, and it is just picking up momentum. Keep checking back for updates, and I'll see you here for the 411.
We have some major news right now. Overnight, complete chaos within the Trump administration regarding Kash Patel and Iran. On Kash Patel, his allegations of significant alcoholism have really, really hurt his standing within the administration. This could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. He is now threatening publicly to sue The Atlantic for their bombshell report, which outlined how literally FBI officials had to
His job is definitely on the line, in my opinion.
try to use SWAT team battering rams to wake him up when intoxicated. Significant concerns about his ability to lead the agencies. At the same time, Iran has shut down the Strait of Hormuz this morning. Remember when Trump said yesterday that the Strait of Hormuz was reopened and that it was the Strait of Iran and everyone was going well? Well, Iran has shut it down because Trump continued to blockade Iran. He never lifted the naval blockade, and now Iran says the strait is under, quote, strict control, as all ceasefire talks are really hanging in the balance right now. Lots to cover. I'll have more
I have so much faith in Pakistan. I believe that it's going to happen.
soon. Follow along for more.
We have some big developments right now. Kash Patel's time as FBI director could be coming to an end sooner rather than later, following explosive allegations of alcoholism overnight by The Atlantic. Now,
All right, Diamond Gang, we are in the mid-afternoon section of today. So my next video is going to be pretty short. It's not going to be as long as this one. It'll bring us up to real time right now.
calls for him to resign or for Trump to fire him are really growing fast across the political spectrum. Now, Kash Patel claims he's going to sue The Atlantic and that the allegations are false. But remember, as the head of the FBI,
And you know why I think that he don't have a good chance is because of the way that they handled the Epstein files. I'm sorry.
according to FBI officials and those cited by The Atlantic, he may pose a security threat because of the alcoholism. Now, why would Donald Trump care so much about this? Well, if you don't know, Donald Trump's brother died due to substance abuse, and he has been very anti-alcohol.
Listen, y'all, I had no idea.
for a long time. He himself is sober. And so this is certainly going to be something that upsets the president. And now Patel may soon be one of the shortest tenured FBI directors in American history. I'll have another update for you shortly. Spread the word. Follow along for more.
Kushner is adamant that his business.
Now let's get into Kushner, y'all, because I believe that it is a conflict in interest. You know, that's my opinion. I want to know what you guys think.
Life and his diplomatic life are two separate things. But it's impossible not to see the connections here. And even though Kushner is currently one of Trump's top negotiators with Iran, he was introduced at this Saudi investment event as a private.
He has a relationship and he's making money with the Middle East big time. And he's been around them since he was a kid.
Citizen as the founder and chief executive of his investment firm Affinity Partners. You know, the investment firm of Kushner's that got a cool $2 billion from the Saudis after Trump's first term, that one. Now, the firm that the New York Times reports Kushner is actively trying to raise another $5 billion for from Gulf states like Saudi Arabia, while also leading negotiations with Iran, all happening same time.
I think this is insanity right here. I really do.
Now, I should note that in the months since the Times published that scoop, Kushner's firm has said that it does not intend to take in any additional capital while Jared is volunteering for the government. But the thing is, that commitment certainly doesn't exist once he leaves, and it certainly looks like he is lining up investments for.
He literally has a personal relationship with Netanyahu. I showed y'all that when he was a kid. Netanyahu used to stay at his house when he was in college.
When that day comes. Now, the obvious problem here is that Kushner has a clear conflict of interest. The White House insists that Kushner only acts in the best interest of the American people. But now one of his biggest benefactors, a country that has pumped literally billions of dollars into his company's coffers, a country that he's now asking to give him billions of dollars more, that country disagrees with Trump on how the U.S. should be negotiating with Iran. And Jared,
you said if anyone can't keep their SHIT together for 4 years, they got to go. I feel you.
Is one of the top negotiators. Now, Vance is there with them, but this is the U.S. delegation. This is the team we have entrusted the lives of more than 50,000 U.S. troops to. Yes, two real estate developers riddled with conflicts of interest and J.D. Vance. Ron reportedly put a deal on the table with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, and they didn't take it. Witkoff himself said that 36 hours before the U.S. and Israel started bombing Iran, Iran presented the U.S. with a 7-page proposal for a potential nuclear deal. And according to reporting from The Guardian, Britain's national security advisor attended those final talks and believed that the deal offered by Iran was significant enough to prevent a rush to war. And now another diplomat,
I agree.
one from the Persian Gulf, told MS Now that the Iranians told Witkoff that they were willing to give up their highly enriched uranium.
And they were in the 6th round. They said that they would dilute it, from my understanding.
But for whatever reason, Kushner and Witkoff didn't take that deal. The White House denied that story, saying that Iran refused to negotiate seriously and that Trump was essentially forced to attack them to prevent an imminent nuclear threat. A threat that I should mention no credible expert believes Iran was anywhere close to achieving. So
yeah, not one came to the table and said it.
Considering how plainly wrong the White House's justification is here, why did Kushner and Witkoff turn down what by all accounts was a good deal? And the kind of deal that the White House seems to now desperately be trying to get. The kind of deal that Trump keeps saying Iran is so close to agreeing to.
We have breaking developments.
All right, bingo. Now we're going to get into Amanda Ungaro. Remember, y'all, for the ones that was in here from my previous lives, she was the best friend of Melania Trump. If you guys can remember, a week ago, Melania gave this speech. She had no relationship with Epstein, so on and so forth. Well, she gave an in-depth interview
regarding Melania Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and their possible relationship, along with Paolo Zampoli and Amanda Ungaro. This morning, Courier released a new interview with Amanda Ungaro, who has made explosive allegations about Melania Trump, about her ex-partner, Paolo Zampoli, and more. Let's go through some of them. If you recall, Zampoli called ICE to get Ungaro deported.
So remember, she was deported and he took custody of her son. She was best friends with Melania Trump for over 20 years. Her boyfriend, who she had a kid by, works in the Trump administration. They've had a relationship, been friends with these people for years. Let's go.
She was asked about that by Courier. Her reaction? Well, she said that she tried to reach Melania Trump through contacts, that Melania was aware of the situation but did nothing. Ungaro goes on to say, quote, her reaction was one of indifference regarding what was happening to me. It seemed to me that Melania, together with her husband, has a pact with Paolo Zampoli. Paolo constructed a false narrative claiming that he was the one who introduced Melania to her husband. And not only do I know this isn't true, but everyone knows it isn't true. Now, on both.
So remember, the man came forward and said, I'm the one who introduced her to Jeffrey Epstein. Well, his ex-girlfriend is saying that's all a lie. That is a lie.
Melania and Zampoli have both denied it. When asked about Melania's relationship with Epstein, Ungaro says that everything made no sense. The whole thing felt strange, made no sense. It was as if their relationship had been pre-programmed, like a specific project that Paolo had meticulously architected, solely to claim the power and credit for having orchestrated their meeting. She went on to say that everything that is unfolding now was in fact part of their original plan. Now Zampoli has...
And Paolo her boyfriend used to have a modeling agency as well.
Denied being involved with Epstein socially or in business. Zampoli is currently a Trump official, by the way. Another one, can you characterize Melania's relationship with Zampoli? She says, Zampoli always portrayed himself as one who initiated the relationship. It always seemed to me that Paolo had some hidden leverage over Melania's life, something that kept her in his thrall. It was a business arrangement. It seems to me an agreement from which both parties stood to benefit. That's what Ungaro told.
Again, they were friends for 20 years. He had a modeling agency. He was around Epstein. They all were around Epstein.
Career. I spent the past several weeks since Melania Trump came out and started talking about her relationship or lack thereof with Epstein and Maxwell, researching this. And this adds a lot of color to what we've been able to find behind the scenes. I'll have more updates for you soon. Spread the word. Follow along for more.
Melania's bizarre 6-minute statement last week, denying her connection to Jeffrey Epstein, sparked internet rumors that were soon a breaking story the Trump administration was hoping to get in front of. In her interview with Courier, her first interview with...
There she is. Oh, they just showed her. And she's still friends with Melania's mom right now.
An English language media outlet. Amanda Ungaro answered some of our most pressing questions. Ungaro says her story began when she was just 15 years old, when she first met Paolo.
There she go. There she go with dude. That's the guy that claims that he introduced Melania to Epstein. I mean, to Donald Trump, sorry. They said that that's not true. That's the one that got deported. That's her right there. Amanda
Zampoli, a businessman with deep ties to both Donald and Melania Trump. She says he pursued her relentlessly, eventually pulling her into a relationship that would define and control her life.
She was only 15 years old.
According to Ungaro, Zampoli was an operator in the modeling underworld, someone who arranged visas, managed models, and moved people through powerful networks behind the...
Now remember, they just said arrange a visa. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein got a lot of those girls visas to stay in the United States.
Scenes. Through him, she met Melania and Epstein and Donald Trump. Ungaro says Zampoli had ties to Jeffrey Epstein, although he denies this, and that he acted as a recruiter of young women like her. She also suggests that stories about relationships within this circle, including Melania's, were shaped by influence and long-term planning. Ungaro describes years of alleged abuse, psychological...
This is why Melania gave this speech. She threatened to come out with her story. This is exactly why she came out.
Physical, and sexual. She claims that she was surveilled, followed, and controlled. She says their home was filled with hidden devices, and that her life became something closer to captivity than partnership. In public, she was close to the most powerful people in America. Zampoli was so tight with Trump that the couple sat at the Trump table at both inaugurations and spent holidays with the Trump family, attended events at the White House and gatherings at Mar-a-Lago. But that proximity to power did not help when Ungaro says Zampoli had her deported to Brazil and separated from her son. She is caught in an ongoing legal battle. She says Melania ignored her plea for help, and she says she's willing to testify before Congress. Melania's 6-minute statement.
Did y'all hear that? So now she's willing to testify.
may have been an attempt to shut something down, but it also might have revealed the weak link in the Epstein cover-up.
She was better off not even doing that. But this is the person who interviewed Amanda. Let's go.
Everybody, we just published a breaking news story out of our Epstein investigative team. Nina Burley, who writes our newsletter, American Freak Show. If you don't read it already, you should. Spoke to Amanda Ungaro and has published the interview in its entirety at her newsletter that just dropped. There are some bombshells in this interview. So for folks who don't know,
Diamond Gang, I'm going to try to get a hold of that interview. I might do something on it. It depends, because I don't want to get caught up in no mess with this YouTube stuff, but I'll try.
Quick refresher, Amanda Ungaro is a former model who was part of the same agency as Melania. She was a partner for over 20 years to Paolo Zampoli, who is still in the White House, a close confidant and friend of Trump's, and who got her deported.
Is it Tehran? Hi, Tehran.
Out of Florida, where she was living. They were in a custody battle over their son. She was picked up by police. He had her transferred to ICE, and then ultimately she was deported back to Brazil, where she...
That is insane that he did that. 348 watching, Diamond Gang. Hit the like for your girl. Let's go.
She is today. She knows Melania and Trump very well. Her former spouse, Paolo.
Now, remember, I told y'all last week, Melania was suing Hunter Biden, for saying that she was in a relationship with Epstein a year prior to her hooking up with Trump. The Wolf guy who actually did an interview with Jeffrey Epstein. She tried to sue him. Her magic number is $1 billion. She's suing a bunch of people for saying that she was tied to Epstein.
Takes credit for having introduced Trump and Melania. That is disputed, but he is very proud to take credit for that. And Amanda, most notably probably, tweeted at...
Allegedly, Jeffrey Epstein he said it out of his own mouth, that he introduced Melania to Donald Trump. And that Wolf guy got the interview.
Melania a number of times just days before Melania's...
Remember, gang, I showed y'all her X account. Look, all of those. Remember, I was reading off her X account the last couple of, I think it was 2 live streams ago. She said she was going to tell it all.
Incredibly bizarre press conference at the White House the other day. So she has a lot of information that hasn't been reported on. We report on some of that here in Nina's story. Please check it out at epsteincoverup.us. Share it widely. This is a story that is still developing.
I'm going to get this story. I'm going to get this story, and I'm going to review this story by all means necessary.
Still a lot of questions we do not have answers to about why Melania did that press conference, what she's protecting herself from, how she emigrated here exactly, and if that was legal.
Right. She could be in this country and shouldn't be. Let's say that.
Or not. And she clearly does not want this information out there. Neither does Paolo, who preemptively put out a post on social media the other day threatening anyone who wrote about him or his son that he would...
This is insane. Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this?
Sue them. This is a really important story. Obviously, it's a continuing developing story, but there's a lot of bombshells in Amanda's interview. So please go check it out at epsteincoverup.us and share it widely. We have got to keep the Epstein cover-up in the news. The cover-up is the crime, and it is continuing. It is happening in real time. And so we at Courier are covering it in real time. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the weekend and probably get off these sites.
All right, let me get to my second video. Let's get to the second video. I had to bring that update because I've been covering it. Let's go. Let's get to the second video. Y'all ready? Y'all ready, Diamond Gang? We're going to get, excuse me, to the second video. I want y'all to hear this, and I want y'all to put a 1 in the chat if y'all remember this. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all remember.
They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal very badly. They want to make a deal so badly. You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They are begging to make a deal, not me. They're begging to make a deal. They want to make a deal. They're begging to make a deal. They're begging.
EJ, you put a 1 in there fast. He done said this 20 times. Oh, let me be quiet. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
To make a deal. They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal more than I want to make a deal. They'd like to make a deal very badly.
Director Brennan, they'd like to make a deal very badly. I wanted to play that because yesterday we saw, in succession after succession, the president picking up the phone and talking to reporters who.
We're about to get into the markets, the stock markets.
He's usually bashing outlets. He's usually bashing CBS News, Bloomberg, others. And the thing that jumped out at me, and we talked about this in the green room, it seems to me that a White House that says we're not negotiating, we will not negotiate through the press, is the president of the United States is literally negotiating in the press. Or am I being unkind?
Well, I think that's Donald Trump's usual way of, conversing with people as well as his adversaries. You said he's losing credit.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think he needs to stop announcing everything. He got to stop that.
I don't think he's ever had credibility on this issue because he has consistently misrepresented and lied about the situation. And the Iranians know that. And that's why when we're talking about the Strait right now, it's absurd to think that the Iranians would allow the Strait to be open if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues.
Right.
And so, he's making all these claims about they've agreed to suspend uranium enrichment and, open up. And the Iranians know that he is lying. And why should they believe in fact anything that he might be saying that in fact hasn't
all he had to say
element of truth in it?
All he had to say is that the Straits was opened. Other than that, we didn't need to hear nothing about the deal.
News this morning as Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz and they have fired on at least 3 ships that have been reported by the United States. This comes as they say the United States has not done what they agreed to and removed the naval blockade. Trump said that was never part of the deal and the naval blockade would remain in full force and effect. So they haven't removed the blockade, and Israel violated the ceasefire with Lebanon by launching a strike yesterday, and they killed.
That's what I'm saying. Israel didn't even last 24 hours, y'all. 24 hours. And I told y'all, live stream after live stream, Trump needs to put his foot down. He finally put his foot down, and they still did what they wanted to do.
At least one person. So, guys, things are very tense. The ceasefire is in the balance, and a peace deal is looking less and less likely to happen soon, hour by hour. Iran came out and said,
wait till you guys hear of this next mission they're going to go on. This is insane.
That they are exposing Trump for the liar that he is. They say that he lied about 7 different major points yesterday within 1 hour about their negotiated opening of the Strait of Hormuz and the ceasefire. And they're saying they waited to call him out. Yes.
This is why people thinks that he's manipulating the markets.
Yesterday evening until after the stock markets closed and the markets hit a record high in the United States. And they are saying they are exposing what he is doing here. They're telling Americans, wake up. The president is manipulating the stock market.
This is insane, y'all.
With what he's saying, which is different from what the reality is in the situation. So, guys, this is what's happening now. We are on a whole different type of warfare going on right now. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
We have some news right now. If you want to know how the Trump administration's opening of the Strait of Hormuz is going, take a look at what Iran is telling ships passing through today. Quote, attention all ships. Regarding the failure of the U.S. government to fulfill its commitment in the negotiation, Iran declares the Strait of Hormuz completely closed again. No vessel of any type or nationality is allowed to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It is closed. It is closed completely. 20 plus ships have been turned around. Now, why do I make this video right now? Well, it's because if you recall yesterday, a few hours before markets closed, and
This is why they believe they messing around with that insider trading. Oh, I'm at 153. Please get me to 200 likes. I got over 400 people in the building. Please and thank you.
an effort to try to boost the Dow Jones, boost the S&P 500, tank oil prices a bit. What did Donald Trump say? Not only did he say that the Strait of Hormuz was open, but he says that Iran agreed to never close it again. Less than 24 hours after he made that statement, Iran has closed it again. Why did Iran close it? Because the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports continues. And so if you want to look at clear-cut market manipulation, just look at what the president has done over the past 24 hours. The market is closed today. This won't impact it, not until tomorrow night.
What y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Do y'all think that they're playing with the market? Because every time somebody, I mean, they make billions of dollars, they go ahead and they purchase it and they sell it. You do? Yep. Okay. So Crane said yes. Aunt Esther said yes. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I believe it. EJ, yes. Playing with everything. Yeah. These people are unreal, period. This is happening. Like, now it's a pattern. So now it's like, who's going to investigate? Nobody's saying anything.
Spread the word. Follow for more.
It's now been discovered that hundreds of millions of dollars worth of oil futures were sold yesterday, just minutes before it was announced the Strait of Hormuz was going to be opened. Yesterday, investors sold roughly $760 million worth of crude futures in a single minute. This took place around 20 minutes before the Iranian foreign minister announced Hormuz was fully open.
Listen up, gang.
At that point, oil then plunged 12%. It's hard to say this is a coincidence when it's the third time it's happened in the actual stock market within the past month. Remember, on April 7th, bets worth around $950 million were placed just hours before the...
That's a lot of money, y'all. Like, if this is not investigated, I'm just done.
The U.S.-Iran ceasefire was announced. And on March 23rd, $500 million worth of oil futures were sold 15 minutes before Trump announced a delay to strike Iran's energy infrastructure, which triggered a...
They locked my girl Martha Stewart up behind this stuff. Like, come on, man.
15% price drop. And this doesn't even include Polymarket, where there have been several documented cases of new accounts opening up and making very specific bets on U.S. military action just hours and sometimes even minutes before.
Yes. Did y'all hear about that? About them betting on military actions. I thought that they stopped that. They had apologized and said that they would never do that again. I guess it's still going on.
Or the specific event takes place, making hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process.
I thought they stopped that. That's why I never brought that to my platform. I heard about it last week.
It is amazing how lucky some traders have been with trading oil shorts right before major announcements from Trump. The Kobayashi letter reports that yesterday at 8:24 a.m., oil traders bought nearly $800 million worth of oil shorts.
Y'all see that? 800 million.
Just 21 minutes later, Iran's foreign minister said the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open. By 9:10 a.m. Eastern Time, oil prices had collapsed to $80 per barrel and hit their lowest level since March 10th. The same oil shorts made nearly $70 million in profit in less than 1 hour,
This is insane, y'all. This is in plain sight.
According to their analysis. These are some lucky mother effers trading some serious cash. Wow, who could have seen this coming? Polymarket traders bet heavily yesterday on a decline in oil prices, with it amounting to nearly $1 billion, with many of these trades from newly opened accounts.
Newly opened accounts. $1 billion daggone dollars.
Guys, I've been reporting on this for a while now. There is serious insider maneuvers happening, and we are seeing it play out in real time, and it's being reported, but we don't know exactly who is placing these bets, who is making these trades as of right now. We need to investigate this. We need Congress to look into it.
Do y'all think Congress is going to do it? I hope so.
is serious stuff here. Now, I have a full breakdown on things similar to this, the corruption going on in the White House. Go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. Some videos with more in-depth analysis and breakdowns.
There is so much corruption in 2026. We're going to go down in history. I'm telling you.
I can't post on here because they're too long. You can find it on my YouTube and on my Substack. Go check it out there, and I'll see you everywhere on my channels for the 411.
Somebody shorted the oil market today by hundreds of millions of dollars exactly 20 minutes before Trump made his announcement that everything was going to be great. And if you see that once, it could be a coincidence. But that's happened at least 3 times, if not.
Here we go. This is where I got this from. This is a pattern.
More since the war began. That's a pattern. And what that suggests is that there's rampant corruption and insider self-dealing going on with the president's up and down predictions of what's going to happen tomorrow in the negotiations and in the market.
But I like what somebody said in the chat that Trump's he's so predictable. It may not.
And I'm sure that that's being investigated. We can't prove it, but it seems like the corruption that we're seeing in our government, maybe not the president, but people who are in the know and the markets is.
Michael, I agree. Both parties guilty. I agree. I do.
Having a priority over the actual.
You said I agree. This isn't going to end well. I really feel Iran has prepared for war on the low. Oh yeah, they're prepared. They've been planning for this for 47 years, Aunt Esther.
Negotiations to end the war. And that's a crazy thing that our system has never seen before.
And we'll be talking about Iran later. We have a very good conversation.
Now, this is where he puts the reporters out. By the way, Aunt Esther, I love your profile pic and I love the name.
Going on. It's working out very well. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. Nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force.
But that's what I'm saying. So you want to be proud to say that you took them on. They've been being cute for 47 years, he said. No, they've been preparing themselves for 47 years, not cute. That's why the straits is closed.
They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually, their leaders are, it is regime change. You call that enforced regime change.
It's not forced regime change. There is no regime change. It's the same. Let's go.
But we're talking to them. They wanted to close up the strait again, as they've been doing for years. And they can't blackmail us. In fact, a lot of
he said they've been closing the strait for years. I've never heard that.
the ships are coming up to Texas. I don't know if you know, in Louisiana, the ships are coming up. They got used to it. Maybe they'll keep doing it. It's worked out pretty good. But it's going actually along very well. And we'll see. But we'll have some information by the end of the day. We're talking to them. And, you know, we're taking a tough stand. They've killed a lot of people. A lot of our people have been killed. A lot of your fellow soldiers have been killed over the years by Iran. The roadside bomb. Soleimani.
What is like bothering me that Joe Rogan is there. He's been speaking so negatively about him, and he's standing right behind him today. Like, what? I think they were talking about something with drugs, and I don't know, but yeah.
Kill Soleimani.
President, a question on Iran. Iranian gunboats fired upon 2 vessels today. President Macron said that.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
They put them right out. Do you see that? So we're going to hear a little piece from the Midas touch.
Donald Trump just kicked out the press from the Oval Office during a bizarre press conference he held on Saturday with Joe Rogan in the Oval Office. And this came at the same
That part, Joe Rogan was so against him.
Time that the press was asking him questions about Iran. You see, earlier on Saturday morning, Iran announced that it was once again fully closing the Strait of Hormuz. Iran said that the Trump regime's bad faith negotiation tactics, the continued misrepresentations by Donald Trump of Iran's negotiation positions, the continued blockade over the Persian Gulf, and the continued escalation and threats by Donald Trump.
That part. The entire ceasefire period, he continued to threaten them. I'm like, how are y'all going to talk if you keep threatening? Like, what?
Made negotiations untenable, and Iran said while it was previously permitting some.
You said he was scared to have him on his show. Who was scared? Who was scared? Joe Rogan is a power and influence move like Musk. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Who was scared? Crane? Put it in the chat.
Ships to cross through the Strait of Hormuz, provided it was coordinated with Iran. They are shutting that down. And
you said Joe Rogan was scared. To put who on his show? Trump? All right, let's go.
So some of the ships that we saw leaving the Strait of Hormuz using the ship tracker
Got you. I could believe it. I could believe it.
Satellite, they suddenly turned back, and we also learned that Iran was actually shooting at some of those ships that at first were refusing to listen to Iran's orders to head back. Iran ultimately got all of the ships.
And I showed y'all that video. They was warning them. Had Kamala on, but Kamala bailed out. Oh, he was supposed to have Kamala on, but she bailed out. She should be deported as well. Who? Okay.
That were leaving to go back to where they started, and the Strait of Hormuz is once again fully closed. Also, Iran's leadership is saying it has no current intentions to meet up with the United States before the
that part. Now they're saying they don't want to meet up with us at all, which is horrible. I'm hoping Pakistan changes their mind.
Ceasefire deadline expires on Wednesday, and Iran says it is fully prepared to go back to war with the United States if that.
Y'all heard it, so they ready.
That's what Donald Trump wants to do by not agreeing to negotiate within Iran's 10-point negotiating framework that Donald Trump previously agreed to. I want to share with you the moment first where Donald Trump kicked out members of the press from the Oval Office as they were asking him questions.
He didn't want to be faced with that question because he knew that what he had put out there wasn't true.
About Iran. They were asking him questions about his claim that Iran was agreeing to all of these things and that the American military was going to join forces with the Iranian military to go and get the nuclear material and bring it back to the United States, and that Iran was no longer going to fund proxy groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis and the Shiite militias in Iraq, which Iran said 100% false, or Donald Trump's representations that the Strait of Hormuz would be fully open without the control of.
This is why I keep leaning towards market manipulation.
Iran, which Iran denied. So the press wanted to ask him those types of questions, right, after they regurgitated and spewed like stenographers what he was feeding to them on Friday. And then Donald Trump just said, out, get out. Let me show you the moment that went down. Let's play it.
Did you see that? He said, get out. Like, oh my God. Thank you guys. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
We do appreciate all our friends, in the region, including Azerbaijan. We do appreciate Turkey, Azerbaijan, and other countries, Armenia, and all other countries, including Azerbaijan. We had a very good, relation, and President Pezeshkian and President.
So this is Iran just thanking everybody and talking.
A very good telephone conversation during which they assured that our good relation is going to continue, and we appreciate all the sympathy that we are receiving from of the nations of the region. Now there is an awareness inside the region and outside that this aggression was illegal, reckless, rogue, and Iran's defense was very much legitimate and mandated by international law, and we are going to continue that. The Strait of Hormuz is in our territorial water. I repeat it again. The Strait of Hormuz is our.
But here's the thing: prior to the war, I get what you guys are saying, but they didn't control it prior to
internal water, and maybe rhetorically they would like to say that and play it off. But let me tell you something: there was no blockade in place actually. There is no blockade in practice right now, actually. And let me give you a prediction. There will be no blockade in future. Nobody can actually impose its will over other nations.
So what they basically saying is that the U.S. can't block. We won't in the future.
including Iran.
We have some news right now. The Trump administration is preparing for a massive escalation in Iran. According to the Wall Street Journal, in the next week.
Y'all ready for this? This is the moment I wanted y'all to be to hear. This is maybe our next move. This may be our next move.
U.S. troops may start boarding Iranian ships to try to seize Iranian oil. That would be the first time U.S. troops engage directly with an Iranian ship. Literally, and like the Iranian troops, if the IRGC boards as well. The United States military, according
Y'all hear this, y'all? This is going to escalate. Let's go.
to the Journal, is preparing in the coming days to board Iran-linked oil tankers and seize commercial ships in international waters. The planning comes as the Iranian military continues to tighten its grip on the Strait of Hormuz, saying that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And now shipping companies are scrambling a day after Iran said that it was previously open to commercial traffic. Many foreign policy experts say that we're now at a fork in the road, and the Trump administration really has a choice. Either A, back down and let Iran become a power again, or B, conduct a massive escalation where U.S. troops' lives will literally be at risk as they try to board.
Bingo. So we're at a fork in the road, Diamond Gang. We can either back down or amp up. How do y'all feel about that? This is horrible.
Board these ships. We'll see what they decide. Spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Breaking news in Lebanon. Israel has broken the ceasefire and did so within hours of being in place. They have continued bombing, killing, destroying homes, and occupying Lebanese villages. Trump said yesterday, Israel has to stop. They can't.
Bingo. And he did. I got to give him props for that. I'm going to keep saying that every time I hear it, because this is the first time that I ever heard him really stand his ground with Israel.
Continue to blow up buildings, and I am not going to allow it. What does Israel do right after? Bomb a motorcycle and a car in southern Lebanon, killing one person. America's response to this, a U.S. official later clarified to the outlet that Israel is still allowed to continue strikes in self-defense, as stated in...
Boom. So they said that was in self-defense. That was clearly not, in my opinion, self-defense.
The agreement between Lebanon and Israel. What part of the ceasefire agreement stops them from bombing Lebanon? It's a ceasefire. Where is the ceasefire if they can say this or that as a threat? And Hezbollah.
Listen, Netanyahu made every excuse around that ceasefire. He made so many ifs, it was ridiculous. So as soon as he said, stop, no more, he went and did that, like right away.
Is there in that? Who is fact-checking this, and are we just believing Israel? What part of the ceasefire allows them to occupy Lebanese land, destroy Lebanese homes? Please let me know. The Israeli army shared a photo of a bunch of guns and weapons.
I keep telling you guys, he does not want this to stop, because the day that it stops, he has to answer for those international crimes. He don't want it to stop.
And claims they were found in a school that the Israeli army blew up. But after further investigation, the weapons were actually in the Beit Jbel courthouse, where they stored weapons after they confiscated from the citizens. So they lied so they can blow up a school. That's straight up terrorism. And you know who supports this? The president of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, who gave the most shameful speech I've ever heard. The man who is asking a foreign country to be able to go in his own village and fix a water pipe. The man who tells his soldiers to retreat and leave villages when IDF soldiers come in. He says we have regained Lebanon's sovereignty for the first time.
Yeah, it's getting crazy on Esther. This is, I'm telling you, Marines are getting restless on ships. I know they know battle ready. This is like here in the U.S., just comply. It wasn't self-defense. Yeah. This is crazy, y'all. All right.
Time in half a century. We negotiate for ourselves. We decide for ourselves. We are no longer a bargaining chip or play.
We got about maybe 20 more minutes, and then I'll go to the chat and take y'all comments. Thanks everybody for participating. This was a good laugh.
Playground. We will not die for anyone. How damn laughable is that? How damn laughable is everything he just said? Your actions speak much, much louder than your words. Then he put down the Shiites. His own citizens in the South claim that the ones fighting in the South have loyalties outside of Lebanon.
I like watching this guy because he tells it all from all angles.
Newsflash, Joseph On. Your loyalties lie outside Lebanon, not the men who are fighting to keep their land in Lebanon. Then he set credit to Trump and Saudi Arabia for securing a ceasefire. That's your loyalty. You are a servant to the U.S. and are thanking them for killing your people. Not a peep about Iran, who has been pushing and pushing for a ceasefire, and literally the only reason you have a ceasefire.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up because Iran was like, listen, if they're not included, like, and I can't believe he's going against his own people, but it is what it is.
What a disappointment your presidency has been so far. I don't believe you'll be in that position much longer. I think your days are numbered. You and the prime minister will be replaced by people who love their country and the people inside of it, no matter what the sect is.
This is why I like this guy so much, because he tells the ins and outs and what's going on in those other countries.
This is breaking news. The United States military is preparing to board Iranian-linked ships near the Strait of Hormuz, doubling down on the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. This is coming after Iran changed course today and announced that the Strait of Hormuz would close once again.
This is
So Diamond Gang, this is getting out of pocket. This is getting out of pocket. Let's go.
Total fucking mess. For the last 72 hours, the Trump administration has been in complete disarray as the war in Iran has been spiraling out of control. In this video, I'm going to simplify and break down the madness that we've seen in the Middle East because it's a need to know.
Now, after this, if you guys haven't been here before, I always at the end, well, I'll either do it at the beginning or at the end. It's a review of everything that Trump has said this week. And I mean, it's hilarious, but it's not. Let's go.
First of all, U.S. service members stuck in the Middle East are now rationing food, and hygiene products are running incredibly low, and some of them are now preparing for deployment. And this is because Trump is now preparing for a massive escalation in the war. According to the Washington Post, U.S. troops are now preparing to board Iranian oil tankers and seize their oil. Why? Well, it's an attempt from the Trump administration to force Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But this is where things get really confusing, because yesterday's breaking news headline was Trump announcing that Iran had reopened the strait, and in fact that they vowed to never shut it down again. So in less than 24 hours, Trump went from saying that the strait was reopened to now considering deploying troops to force Iran to reopen it.
This is what I'm saying. This is going to escalate, and those troops over there are suffering, rationing food, no deodorant, no cosmetics. Like, this is crazy. Why this should not be happening.
Marking a massive escalation in the war. So what the happened? Good question. Well, yesterday, it's true. Iran did reopen the strait because Israel had achieved a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon. But then the U.S. imposed a naval blockade on Iranian ports, effectively blocking Iran's access from using the strait they just opened. So in response, Iran shut it down again. Not only is this bad because this escalation signals that the peace talks between Iran and America are hanging on a thread, but also because it means the price of your gas is bound to keep on climbing, which is crazy.
It definitely will. If this war escalates globally, we're doomed.
Because last month in the U.S., the price of gas rose the most it ever has in a month since 1967 during the Vietnam War. That's all for now. Make sure to hit that follow button to stay in the loop.
Well, I think it's very clear the statement you just played from the president makes clear that this president has no idea what he's doing and is not fit to be serving as our commander-in-chief. He doesn't know if he's going to drop bombs. He doesn't.
Now, the last live stream, if you guys can remember, they are trying to get the ball rolling for the 25th Amendment. They're trying to get him out of there.
Doesn't know what his strategy is. He doesn't know what his exit strategy is. He doesn't know how he's going to get the Straits of Hormuz reopened. It's very clear since day one that the president agreed to go into this war, that he has not only not provided appropriate justification to Congress and to the American people, but that he doesn't know what he's doing. And that is not only threatening the lives of our service members. We have 13 killed, hundreds with severe.
Listen, I'm going to be watching this closely minute by minute tomorrow. So keep y'all notifications on, subscribe to the channel, because if it looks like these guys is going to go over there to get on these ships, this is not good.
brain injuries. Thousands of civilians have been killed. Lebanon has over 1 million people displaced. And all of this because there is a madman in the White House who doesn't have a clue how to lead his way out of a paper bag, and he is putting our troops in harm's way.
Has the president offered any clarity on the situation in the Strait of Hormuz?
Alex, we are actively trying to confirm this reporting as we speak, but
he put them out. They couldn't get any clarification. And I'm telling you, these 2 days on this 2-day break that I've been taking, I was so hopeful. I really thought that something was good was going to happen.
Axios is saying that the president actually held a situation room meeting this morning on this very topic, on the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is now closed. They say that Vice President Vance attended, as well as the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and General Dan Kane, who our producer Emily Hung spotted leaving the White House.
Now, I showed y'all the other day, they started the articles of impeachment for Pete Hegseth. So, yeah, they're trying to get both of them up out of there.
Earlier today, but the president actually spoke to reporters this morning in the Oval Office, and he struck a tone that was both optimistic and somewhat threatening. He acknowledged that Iran is now starting those attacks again on ships, as we've seen in reporting, but he appeared to downplay the impact on supply chains at home. I want you to take a listen to him.
They wanted to close up the strait again, as they've been doing for years, and they can't blackmail us. In fact, a lot of the ships are coming up to Texas. I don't know if you know, in Louisiana, the ships are coming up. They got used to it. Maybe they'll keep doing it. It's worked out pretty good. But
they called it downplaying, y'all.
It's going actually along very well. And we'll see, but we'll have some information by the end of the day. We're talking to them.
So you heard the president there teasing possibly more information later today, but I think it bears reminding that he said that potentially we could have seen a U.S. delegation go back to Pakistan.
And I've been watching this since I hit the live button, and I don't see, there was no changes, none.
This weekend to restart a second round of negotiations with Iran. We have heard no news suggesting that would be the case.
If you had any hopes in the Iran-U.S. negotiations, think again. The war is about to resume. President Trump
this right here, this is what I believe.
Held a meeting with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, as well as the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and an informed source from the U.S. intelligence community told Axios, the Zionist propaganda outlet, that, quote, preparations are being taken to return to war with Iran if there's no diplomatic breakthrough by the end of this week. Hebrew Channel 12 also reports the same. And I can assure you there will
And you guys know what type of time Pete Hegseth is on. So this is going to amp up, in my opinion.
Be no diplomatic deal. The United States has already sent 4,200 troops from the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit to the region surrounding Iran, and another 4,200 Marines from the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group are en route in tandem with 6,000 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division of the U.S. Army. And at the same time, the U.S. government is parroting the
And guess what, Diamond Gang? I don't think that's enough. I showed y'all last week their military, including their reserve, 900,000. They are 900,000 deep, military-wise. Iran is. So let's pray for our soldiers.
Same old talking points that any deal must result in the end of Iran's nuclear program. All highly enriched uranium must be transferred out of Iran. And
yes, Aunt Esther, they are 900,000 deep, and that's including their reserves. So yeah, this is going to be insane.
Iran must cease all support for their regional allies. Most ludicrous of all, of course, is that they expect the Strait of Hormuz will be open and free once again for all travelers, while they still are allowed to bomb the people of Lebanon through their Israeli proxies. Iran's military leadership is ready for the fight, as you can probably imagine. The IRGC Brigadier General Mohammad Reza Nagdi came out today and said that if the war resumes, Iran will use missiles that were even built just this last month, meaning that the U.S. has completely failed to eradicate Iran's ballistic missile program. He went on to say that the United
Don't forget, gang, Russia It's helping them with their drones and intelligence.
States and Israel cannot stop Iran's missile building capabilities. And if the war resumes, it will become global this time. And the first step will be Iran's great partners and allies in Yemen.
Iranian gunboats belonging to the Revolutionary Guard have fired on at least 2 vessels transiting the strait, which were forced to turn back, though no injuries were reported. Iran says it's reimposed strict military controls there after briefly reopening the strait to shipping on Friday, and that it will stay shut until the US lifts its naval blockade of Iranian ports. It also says that...
I'm going to be honest, I don't see either side budging at this point. I don't.
Contrary to Donald Trump's claims, it has no intention of handing over its stockpile of enriched uranium to the United States, and that further talks are not on the cards for now, which is not quite the message.
It's just blowing my mind that they put together a deal that Obama had in place that he tore up. The only difference is he was going to give Iran, release more of Iran's funds to them, 10 times more.
That we're
sorry, guys.
Hearing from Donald Trump.
We'll be talking about Iran later. We have very good conversations going on. It's working out very well. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. Nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually,
I told y'all, I showed you guys in the live before this. They have tons of those small boats. I showed y'all the type of damage that they could do with those drones and those small boats. It's crazy.
their leaders are, it is regime change. You call that enforced regime change. But we're talking to them. They wanted to.
Guess who did the regime change? We did. When Pete Hegseth went in there and he fired all of those people. That was a regime change without replacements at that.
Close up the strait again, you know, as they've been doing for years.
In the middle of a war at that.
They can't blackmail us.
Mujtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader who's believed to be injured and has not yet been seen in public since his appointment, released this statement, which was broadcast on state TV.
But he said there was regime change. But here's a message coming from the Ayatollah son, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it. Mujtaba. He said something today, supposedly. He hasn't been seen. They said he was injured. I doubt if this is him. You know what I mean? I really do. But the regime hasn't changed.
حاکم و مستحکم دوشادوش دیگر مجاهدان نیروهای مسلح با دو ارتش رأس جبهه کفر
I'm supposed to be reading this to y'all. I forgot. Hold on. Let me go back. In armed. I got to read this. I got to. All right, let's go. I'm going to tell y'all what it's say.
Mujtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader who's believed to be injured and has not yet been seen in public since his appointment, released this statement, which was broadcast on state TV.
The Iranian army standing in descent steadfast ranks.
متراکم و مستحکم دوشادوش
shoulder to shoulder with other fighters.
دیگر مجاهدان نیروهای مسلح با دو
in armed forces has grappled with the two. Let's get
ارتش رأس جبهه کفر و استکبار
main armies of the arrogance front.
در پنجه درافکنده و ضعف و
and has exposed their weaknesses and manipulations.
ذلت آنان را در انظار جهانیان
before the world. I guess he's talking about us.
نمایان ساخته است.
Just as the army's drones hit the American and Zionists. Talking about Lebanon.
که پهپادهای آن صاعقه وار بر جانیان
criminals like lightning.
آمریکایی صهیونی وارد می آید، نیروی دریا
Its brave navy stands ready to make its enemies taste.
دلاورش آماده است تا تلخی شکست
the bitterness of new defeats.
های جدیدی را به کام دشمنان بچشاند.
Thousands of people are traveling back to their homes in southern Lebanon, and that's despite warnings of the fragility of the US-brokered ceasefire. A French soldier belonging
They're returning home after the ceasefire. I mean, the ceasefire is over with.
To the peacekeeping mission, UNIFIL has been killed and 3 others wounded in an ambush that the UN and French officials believe was carried out by Hezbollah. Hezbollah denies any involvement. And the IDF says that it's carried out artillery strikes against what it calls terrorist threats in areas close to Lebanon's border with Israel. Israel remains an occupying force in the south of this country, and Benjamin Netanyahu has told Israelis that the fight against Hezbollah is unfinished business.
You hear that? So Bibi told them that the fight is unfinished. So he's not going to stop.
Donald Trump is keeping him in check for now, but the ceasefire here in Lebanon...
Did you hear her? Donald Trump is keeping him in check for now. I don't think so.
...will depend in large part on how negotiations with Iran continue.
This is the Week in Trump.
All right, Diamond Gang, this will be the end of the live. We're going to hear the Week in Trump. We're going to hear everything that he has said throughout the week. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Trump, no jokes or commentary, just a dry, matter-of-fact list of the Trump administration shenanigans this week that we would otherwise forget next week for the week ending April 18th, 2026. J.D. Vance failed to negotiate a ceasefire with Iran while the president and secretary of state went to a UFC fight. Trump announced now the U.S. was blockading the Strait of Hormuz. He said the price of oil could be higher by the time of the midterms. He attacked the Pope on social media and called him weak on...
Let me give y'all an update. Do y'all know that the Pope's brother received a bomb threat? Yes, a bomb threat.
crime. J.D. Vance told the Pope to stick to matters of morality. Trump posted an AI pic of himself as Jesus and then deleted it. His acting AG said they won't be releasing any more Epstein files. His Justice Department is trying to reverse convictions for Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. He staged a press conference while receiving McDonald's via DoorDash, where he said he thought the AI picture was him as a doctor.
That right there blew my mind when he said he was a doctor. I played that clip over and over and over on my last live stream. Let's go.
J.D. Vance said when you have control of the House, Senate, and White House, and there's not an election around the horizon, it's very easy to forget what your goal is. Trump said the Iran war was close to over. Dr. Oz said Trump thinks Diet Coke kills cancer. Pete Hegseth mistakenly quoted Pulp Fiction as a...
That was embarrassing. He literally quoted Pulp Fiction as a quote from the Bible. I swear to y'all, and I had that clip ready for y'all yesterday. I was just too upset to go live.
A passage from the Bible. Trump incorrectly stated the Pope said Iran can have a nuclear weapon. He said we have a very good relationship with Iran right now. A judge once again blocked above ground construction of his ballroom. He said he's never heard of a corner store. When asked about people struggling with the economy, his Treasury Secretary said, well, in their heart of hearts, they feel good. I'm not sure what they're telling the survey people. Trump announced the Strait of Hormuz is open, but the blockade is still in effect. He said he expects a deal within a day or two. He criticized the media for not thanking him over Iran. He criticized Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly as low IQ, Candace Owens as dumb and mentally ill, and Alex Jones as bankrupt and completely fried. He said
Trump was going crazy this week.
We're actually cooling as a planet. He said Iran agreed to hand over nuclear dust and to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. And then Iran closed the strait over the U.S. blockade. Let me know what I missed in the comments, and remember an archive of previous episodes.
Boom. We done, Diamond Gang, with that. Let me go to the comments real quick. Oh my goodness. To the channel, turn your notifications on. Hold on. Why am I let me blow myself up. Sorry guys. Okay. Please turn y'all notifications on. All right, let me get to the I know that has me cracking up every time. Come on. Why would you say that dumb stuff? You're done. You're banned. What's up, Mike? And told people he bombing. Let's make money together. Knock it off and stop playing. Yes, thanks to everybody that joined this live stream. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Everybody that participated in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, please be respectful. Please. All opinions will be respected over here. You just can't be disrespectful. Please don't curse. You said some post or what? Or really what? Why are you saying that? You're saying what post? Trump's? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, everybody. You can chat, but you just got to be respectful. That's it. Thank you, June. Thank you for standing up for democracy. Thank you so much. That's it. All opinions are respected. As long as you could say whatever you want, even if it's opposing to mass. You have a right to feel any way you want to feel. I just don't like, when people are disrespectful. All right, Diamond Gang. I'm going to go ahead. It's 1:30 a.m. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I give updates on the war, what's going on. I do a bunch of other content too. You gotta go. I do celebrity gossip. I do a gang of things. Yeah, Gilbert, you can't say that. You can't say that. Thank you. What I need to know is what is the end game? Me too. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, June. Thank you, gang. That's what I want to know. What's the end game? We're going to find out. You're welcome, Rose. This is why I do it. It ain't even about my monetization at this point. It's not. I'll get it back. Yes. Thank you. Yes, I am. I usually do like lives around this time. I used to come on like in between 8:30. And then one day I just took a chance and I like the late night crowd. I mean, I like the 8:30 crowd too. But I don't know. It's just something about this crowd, this late night crowd, the third shift. I love it. Thank you so much, Beverly. I appreciate you guys. I swear I do. I really do. What you say I am? And Trump seems to be coming. Wait a minute. As for lies told by our minority whites. Be coming at us. You said coming at you? Very worried for my country. Where are you at? Where are you at? NATO? Don't worry. Put in here what country you're from. That's what they're saying, June. That's what they're saying. He's going to bankrupt this country. Myself, I think he's alienating us from everybody. From our adversaries, from our allies, from anybody. South Africa, okay. I usually come on anywhere between 10:30 p.m. East Coast time. Maybe I might start a little late, like 11:02. But I try to stay on for at least 3 hours. So I'm going to be watching this close, and I promise y'all, any sudden moves, anything happen, I will be hitting the live button tomorrow. Believe it or not, from the moment I wake up until the time that I come on, I'm watching this. Right. I know, and I think that's a bad move. I think that's a bad move. He wants to pull the U.S. out of NATO. It's crazy. Just like all of his businesses. That's how he's operating the country, in my opinion. Like he's running one of his shams of a business. True story. True story. Well, Diamond Gang, I got to get up out of here. It's 1:30 in the morning. But thank you for all those that attended. all of you guys that participated, everyone that subscribed, please keep your notifications on. I want to also say shouts out to my moderators. I love y'all down. Y'all hold me down every live stream. Every live stream. All right, Diamond Gang, have a good night. I got to get up out of here.
It's your under the crease. Sip on me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Greek, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Great, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea.